Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. How much the gang we packing? We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas, keep. You with me, sheesh. Benito, Chief, Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I can't take no loss, I don't even know what it costs, I hit the ground then it go off, yeah. Hit the ground then it go off, yeah. I can't take no loss, I don't even know what it costs, yeah. I hit the ground then it go off, yeah. Hit the ground then it go off, yeah. Run it, ooh. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my pen ready. Used to hold myself back, my self-esteem been better. Gotta keep on chugging, ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke bed heavy, got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to get ahead, so bump that, it's no surrender. Got a dollar flipped up, I'm trying to get it in FT to get them when they're in hand and crypto. Learn how to fix that. I don't really hold out of books, but I'ma learn how to fix that. Some opportunities and never come unless you paying attention, so no, I can't miss that. Moving, MVP, I got the record, I might have to prove something. Big jumper worthy, they gon' have to retire my jersey early. Whole crew coming, had to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket, yeah, I did all that. Big plans, partners trying to make profits, yeah, I did all that. Work, sweat, and tears breaking, even no ends, yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen, putting hours in my practice, I did all that, yeah. I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. Hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, yeah. I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. Hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. Run it, ooh. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my big dog, walking big talk, young veteran, living legend, bet I'm better than them. This is my ship, I'm a jacket like Letterman, y'all better not let them in. They gon' rotate this, so I keep the pedaling, started a chain. The cycle is heaven sent, this is from God, but I'm not your reverend, not in the pulpit. I'm a pit bull in this element, yeah. Said you gon' pull up, then settle it, yeah. I've been married to this hustle, this is my ring, watch out step in it, yeah. And I ain't even got a yard, but I'ma get it here. Watch out touchdown, pulling plans out the clutch. Everybody getting crushed, the cut down is for us now. Have to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket, yeah, I did all that. Big plans, partners trying to make profits, yeah, I did all that. Work, sweat, and tears breaking, even no ends, yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen, putting hours in my practice, I did all that, yeah. I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. Hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, yeah. I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. it's my time, think it's my. Yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Bitcoin, oh my God, guys, we got the move to the downside. Now, if you guys tune into Friday night's live stream, you will know, as we were looking at that daily red dot and our local value area low sitting just underneath us, we were anticipating a potential drop to the downside, and we looked at a very key level on the chart being a daily naked point of control that, if lost, would very likely give us that bigger drop down into the liquidity we had sitting below our $78,000 wick. And, oh God, we got that drop to the downside. We did take a little bit more of the liquidity, guys. It is still sitting down there. Are we going to see a bigger bounce come in right now? Now, I'm not talking about any kind of massive rip up to all-time highs, but are we going to get a significant retracement to the upside from where we just tapped into earlier today? Or are we still potentially looking to grab that liquidity even lower, leading us into that 786, closer to about $76,000, guys? We're going to break it all down on tonight's live stream, but oh, man, Bitcoin, what the heck are we going to do with you, man? Oh, God, I see everybody in the chat. The alts are getting crushed. Everybody is feeling kind of bummed out today, obviously, guys. But I am glad. I am super, super happy that we were looking at these levels. You know, when you have that liquidity sitting below, guys, there is a higher probability that you're going to go grab that than not, especially once we lost that daily naked point of control that we were looking at on Friday. So once again, the TA plays out, gives us that bigger drop down. But now the question is, where are we going from here? Are we going to get the bounce? Are we going to come down to the 786? Oh, man, are we going to zero? What the heck? We're going to look at some lower levels as well, guys. I'm just going to warn you right now. We're going to look at those lower levels on tonight's live stream, potentially getting closer to about $70,000. But I see some people up on some shorts. I love to see it. I absolutely love to see it. But shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the CandleMafia. Smash that like button, guys. I think we're going to do some hat giveaways this week. Maybe we'll add some Solana giveaways as well. But if we get 1,000 2,000 likes on tonight's live stream, we'll give away 3, maybe 5 Frankie Candles hats, and obviously we'll do our Cardano giveaways, and then I don't know, maybe we'll do sometime this week, we'll do a guess what's on Frankie Candles desk and win a bunch of Solana. I think we gave away like close to $2,000 in Solana last week, which is absolutely awesome. So shout out to anybody who got some of that free Solana last week, but smash up those like buttons, guys. Let's see. I need a hat. I am bald. Shout out to Satoshi Stacker. Shout out to you, bro. But we'll try to get you a hat, bro. If we get 1,000 likes, I'll say 5. We'll give away 5 of them. And yeah, we'll see what happens. We lost the daily naked point of control. Dang, that's bad. Yeah, shout out to Marek. Yeah, and I'll take a look at kind of what we were looking at on Friday to anticipate this drop down, why we saw the drop down. And yeah, I'll be honest, guys, that dip below the $78,125 wick could have, really triggered a bunch of liquidations down to the 786. And we really just kind of slipped below it slightly. We are in a scalp long here in the premium Discord. So, but I'll be honest with you guys, I do not have super, super high hopes that this is the low. If I'm being quite honest, if it is, and we just decide to skyrocket from here, we're in at the low. But I will say I do not have super high hopes for this. I was even telling the premium, like, if I take an entry here, guys, it's probably going to be lower probability, and I would anticipate coming down to some lower prices. I'm going to show you guys exactly why and exactly where I'm expecting price to come down to if we do not just skyrocket from here, which, again, we got some things on the chart that don't look horrible, but I'll be honest, guys, the higher time frames have been looking pretty bad for quite some time, ever since we were trading up in our upper volume profile. So shout out to the Candle Mafia. We got Lars in the chat, said bull div on the 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, and any time frame on the daily CME gap. 77.9 closed. New CME gap at 86. I'm super long, Frankie. Shout out to Lars. Let's go, baby. I hope we shoot up from here. Based off higher time frame money flow, I'm going to go over this. I do think there is a chance we could get a retracement up, but we are going to be very careful with that based off the high time frame money flow, which we got something to show today, guys. We've been looking at something for quite some time, and we are finally starting to see a pretty brutal money flow crossover. So we'll talk about that. But again, any of these bounces to the upside, I'm going to be looking at as lackluster retracements before potential lower highs and continuations down based off that high time frame money flow. But yeah, shout out to Lars. I do see those bull divs. We were looking at those a little bit earlier. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We are long right now. Shout out to Crypto Cult. What is going on? Said the sweet drop, baby. Shout out to Crypto Cult. Welcome in. By the way, guys, the Candle Mafia is not a cult. I swear. But anyway, shout out to Julio. Shout out to Satoshi Stacker. We got Pokimane in the chat. Said, still don't think the bear is here. Just a bad few weeks. Yeah, shout out to Pokimane. We'll take a look at that. I'll give you guys my overall update. I pretty much have the same sentiment, guys. Could the bear market be here? Potentially. But it is a little bit soon to call that, in my own personal opinion. By the bottom, not the top. Shout out to FedBomb. Absolutely. We talked about this level. Not a lot of people are going to be bullish down here. But what do we do in the premium? We look for those little longs. But again, I don't want anyone being like, Frankie's long. Oh, my God, we're going to $1 million. I do have low hopes for this. Could very likely get stopped out of this. Yeah, no stress. Follow the plan. Shout out to $5. $5 for BTC. We got Jesse in the chat. Our like police. Respect him if he asks you to kindly slap that like button. Touch it with your elbow. Touch it with your butt. We don't care. We don't judge, guys. Just touch that like button at least 1 to 3 times. Just don't tap it 2 times. But anyway, we got Rag Capital in the chat. Said ETH below the hold me mommy level. Yeah, shout out to Rag Capital. We are way below that now. Shout out to Rag. We'll take a look at Ethereum. We took a look at some lower levels on Ethereum on Friday's live stream. And again, guys, on Friday I talked about, I don't want to look at these levels, guys. I don't want Ethereum to go down. I hold a whole lot of Ethereum. I did not want price to come down here, but we brought up those lower levels because we have money flow coming out, and here we are sitting and interacting with those exact levels. We'll cover that. We'll cover some of the altcoins. Let's see. Shout out to Flame. Said long time. How are you? Shout out to Flame. Welcome in. I'm doing well. I hope you are as well. I could be doing better if Bitcoin was pumping, but yeah. Shout out to Jay Edits. We got Julio in the chat. We got Steady Bug, Crypto Billy, and Jay Edits. Don't forget to show the mod some love in the chat. Said, you killed the Sui TA. Shout out to Jay Edits. Hey, we're here every single weekday at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, giving you the key levels, giving you the fire TA, which more likely than not will likely play out. Not financial advice. But yeah, shout out to Jay Edits. I assume you were able to use some of that TA to your advantage, which is what I absolutely love to hear. Let's see. Bada boom. Yo, shout out to Morpheus. Said, bro, you talk like a machine gun trying to follow. Respect. Shout out to Morpheus. Yeah, sometimes I gotta try to slow it down. I do talk really fast. We're from New York. We move fast. We hustle, guys. Especially when it comes to the Bitcoin price action, you gotta be quick. So yeah, shout out to you, man. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Smash that like button. And without further ado, I'm stalling, guys. I don't want to look at the charts, man. But anyway, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump on in, show the mod some love, and let's go ahead and see if we can figure out where Bitcoin's going next. And hopefully, you killed Sui. Shout out to Jungle Boy. I'm just a messenger, guys. Don't shoot the messenger. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So here we are, guys. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh. All right. We're going to start off here on the higher time frames, guys. And just a quick little update here. We are in a scalp long in the premium Discord here. Again, I don't have high hopes for this. I would not be shocked at all if this winds up stopping us out. Again, to come down to more of our actual key levels of support, we have front run all of our levels of support. We have come down here, swept a little liquidity below our wick. As you guys know, we've been looking at this on the live stream for quite some time. My alarm actually did go off this time. I guess I'll just keep this on for now. But you guys know, as we were bing-bonging up here, we had some bearish signs popping up on Market Cypher B, right? We had that incoming red dot. We had the VWAP coming down on the daily, potentially looking to print that red dot, which wound up printing on Saturday. And as we were looking at that, right, I'm going to jump into the local time frames, but we knew that we had some key levels down here that if that daily red dot did bring us down to the bottom of the range, we had to hold that level, guys, because if we were unable to hold that level, we were very, 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 very likely to come down here and come take these lows out, which we did do today, which is nice for the sake of the technical analysis playing out, but is not so nice for Bitcoin going up. But we'll come back down to that in just a minute. I do just kind of want to, start off here on the higher time frames, guys. And yes, I will cover the overall volume profile that we have sitting down below us. Hopefully, we do not have to come play with this zone. But as of right now, it's not looking too good, guys. I'm not going to lie. But overall, right, we have our massive volume profile up here. The reason we anticipated this drop down, I have to say this every stream just so people understand how we got to where we are. As we were bing-bonging around here, we had the daily money flow crossing over into the red, which made us anticipate the continuation of this downtrend, which is why we've been looking at that at that $80,000 support zone for such a long time, right? Because if that money flow is going to play out, which it does way more often than it doesn't, money flow very, very rarely lies here, guys, especially on a high time frame like the daily and above. That is what made us anticipate the potential continuation down. We came down, swept the lows here at $80,000, and then we wound up coming back up for a retracement. And then on last Sunday, not this past one, we looked at that 786 golden pocket retracement, which would be a high probability area to put in a lower high. And just overall, guys, once you break down out of these ranges, if you're unable to get accepted back into the value area low and get a full fill of the range, we get up here, we get slammed back down, we come up for a bearish retest. And this is one thing we were focused on a lot last week was like, hey, guys, we came up here, we bearishly retested this range. If we can't get back in there, which is not looking good because of that bearish retest, right? Daily red dot could potentially print, and that's why we were anticipating this next drop to the downside, where we had all of this liquidity sitting below our wick at $78,000, about $78,125. And if I actually come over here and I pull up the liquidation heat map really quick, let me just get this all ready. Bada boom! Come on, baby, come on. So yeah, if we look at the liquidation heat map, you guys will know we showed this many, many times. Obviously, we had this liquidity sitting below this wick. We came down, we swept some of the liquidity, got the retracement to the upside, and then when you have all this liquidity left down behind, guys, it's more likely than not that price is going to get gravitated towards that liquidity. And we do still, right? We came back down, we grabbed a little more of it, but we do still have a significant amount of that liquidity sitting below about $77,400. So again, we are scalp long in the premium from that little sweep of liquidity. However, I actually got an entry on a retest here. So I actually wasn't even in from the low, but we do still, I want to point this out, guys. We do still, just like we did back here, we swept into that, right, we dipped into that liquidity. We got a little retracement to the upside. We could see a similar situation where we may just kind of see a little retracement if we didn't already see the full move, even if we come up a little bit more. Based off number one, the liquidity still sitting down here. Again, that is sitting between about, I would call it $77,424, and then the significant liquidity does end around $76,400. But really, you do kind of it brings you down to about $75,000 if you count all of this liquidity here. So we do still have some liquidity sitting below, right? But it wasn't just that liquidity, right? It was also the daily red dot and the 2-day money flow, guys, which probably could have made the thumbnail this. Bearish sign appears, right? 2-day money flow crossover into the red, right? We've been talking about this forever. It was like, are we ever going to see this money flow crossover into the red? I'm sure a lot of people were like, Frankie, how many times are you going to talk about this money flow? But there is a reason we bring this stuff up, guys, because now that we're seeing this 2-day money flow crossover, we have to look at any kind of significant retracement, even if this kind of shocks me and we get this to play out a little bit more than I anticipate, which again, I will talk about kind of where I'm expecting a local bounce to come in at if we do see it. But with this 2-day money flow crossover, guys, what are we going to be looking for, right? It's the same thing that we've been looking for up here and even right here, right? The money flow indicates the overall trend, meaning we're anticipating, it doesn't mean that price can't get a little lackluster bounce, but we're going to be anticipating lower highs and potential lower lows, right? The simple kind of way to look at this is like, hey, money flow's coming out, not only on the 2-day, but also the daily. So any bounce to the upside has to be looked at as lackluster to put in the lower high and then specifically break structure to the downside. The trend is your friend until the end. So not only is the market structure bearish here on the daily, but when you look at the money flow, you could potentially, that's how you could stay out of those bad long positions, right? Sure, if this wound up just sending it to higher prices, we would have been in on some longs here, but the higher probability anticipation is going to be lower high, lower low to break structure to the downside, which we did just wick below that low today, right? So we're just seeing that play out, and it's going to be the same exact situation if we get a significant retracement here. We have to anticipate lower highs and lower lows to come in once again, especially if we come up from here. We still have that liquidity sitting down here. We also front ran this 786. We did almost fill the CME gap in full. We front ran it by like a couple of dollars, at least from what I'm looking at. Some people are saying it's filled in full, but we did get eerily close to it. So, technically we do have the 786 sitting down there still. And that money flow we're using as a filter on whether we should look at lower highs for lower lows, right? We're looking at that to anticipate the overall trend. Are we looking for giga longs down here for massive new all-time highs, or are we just looking to maybe be a little bit more careful with these longs in anticipation of the lower high and with the money flow crossing into the red on the 2-day, as well as the daily, as well as, a lot of this other money flow not looking that great. We could potentially anticipate the lower highs and the lower lows, just like we did here and, just like we did right here, right? It's the same thing. We're just sticking on the right side of the trend. So at this point, right, it's scalp longs and then, more significant short positions, right? Like you would want to lean heavier on shorts. Again, doesn't mean you can't long, but you just have to understand the context of what you're looking at, right? Imagine we were looking for giga longs here. We would have gotten absolutely stopped out of that position, right? Doesn't mean you can't catch this move to the upside, but if you know you have that key support, right, or key resistance, you might want to lock in some profits, move your stop loss to break even, protect yourself, lock in a guaranteed winning trade in anticipation of the next drop down, right? So overall, that's what we're looking at, guys. We looked at the level, right? And now we're here. Unfortunately, I hate to be the guy, right? Like, hey, guys, we could come down here, but we have to bring up what's on the charts, guys. I will only bring you unfiltered, unbiased, technical analysis here. Anything I talk about is always going to be backed up by data. Is that data going to be right 100% of the time? No. Is it right a lot more than it's wrong? Absolutely, right? And that's just sticking to the charts. That's not me bragging about how good of an analyst I am or anything like that, right? It's just the TA, and that's why I teach it here every single day, because I want you guys to learn what we look for to anticipate these moves so you can apply that to your TA like maybe Jay Edits did, I think, based off the SUI TA, and then, use it to your advantage to hopefully get on the right side of the trade. So, with that being said, we tapped in here. We sucked a little of the liquidity. We took a little scalp long entry, and we'll see, right? I'm kind of anticipating, unless we just kind of send it from here and start stopping out a bunch of longs, I'm going to break down the lower time frames on Market Cypher and talk to you guys about why I was comfortable taking a little long position here. It really just has to do with the lower time frames, right? We didn't come down to our key level of support. I want to be clear. The next real big level that I'm looking at, right, and this is why I'm looking at this as a little bit of a lower probability long position, is just because we front ran all our support, right? Sure, we dipped into the liquidations, which could send you up, right? But we never really tapped the key levels of support, which really sit here between about $76,600 and $74,850. You might ask yourself, like, Frankie, what lives down here? Why is this such a key level, right? Well, you have the 786 Fibonacci retracement, and you also have your daily naked point of control sitting right here at about 76,447, and then you have another weekly naked point of control at the bottom of this box at 74,972. So really, if we did come down here and we wound up sweeping all this liquidity into the key levels of support, I would have felt much better about taking a huge position down here at support. But I did, take a little bit. The reason I took these longs down here is just simply because on the lower time frames, we do have some bullish divergences, right? And it's not that. We also have some money flow potentially trying to come up as well. But you guys can see here, right? We dip down, sweep some of that liquidity. We did wind up getting the lower lows on our price action. We have our higher lows on our momentum waves here on the 1 hour, giving us that bullish divergence for a high probability bounce to the upside. But again, not necessarily a signal to be like, oh my God, all-time highs, but enough to give us a little bit of a scalp long opportunity to capitalize on these little ebbs and flows in the market while we wait for our real key level to get hit, right? When we see the key levels get hit, guys, typically we will see bigger moves, right? You can see here we came down to our key level. We got a massive, 21% rip to the upside, even on our short positions, right, up at 102K and even up here, or even the most local short position, which was up here. It was either this high or this high. I think it was this high. When you get those key levels, guys, you get the saucier pops up and down, right? Like those are the real trades we like to take big positions on. But this was enough for me to take a little scalp and, just to kind of show why we took that, right? We had the 1 hour bullish divergence. On top of that, we did have some lower time frame bull divs, even the 15-minute here, giving us a tiny, tiny little bullish divergence into that liquidity, lower lows, higher lows, right? And then you start to get a little move to the upside. And right now, we have flipped this daily daily naked point of control back to support, which could be a good sign for that continuation up. And now this is tapped, right? We tapped this on the way down, and we looked at this last week, right, on Friday. I want to bring that up because, again, I never want to show this as like, we're the best, right? Like I hope it's never taken like that, because that's not the reason for me going back and showing you guys what we were looking at. I show it because, I get chats that's like, Frankie, you taught me how to do this, and this is how I teach it, right? I show you like, this is what we were looking at on Friday, and this is why what we were looking at played out, right? Because it was just a higher probability situation where you're going to get that bigger drop to the downside. Now, last week, what we were looking at, I'll hide the major volume profile. You guys know we were bing-bonging around. Let me just hide this profile real quick. Right, we were bing-bonging around in this range. We had the short setup in the premium, the little scalp short setup from here, right? Looking, or maybe it was, I don't remember. I think it was this. But then looking, right, for the potential continuation down. We got the big drop down here, but we front-ran the value area low, guys. And I'm going to show you on Solana as well. We saw the same thing play out. When you front-run these value area lows, right, it's not impossible to just get out of here. But more often than not, when you front run a value area low like this, price does want to come fill this value in full. And what happens, right? We get a little retracement, we go back up to the high, we get rejected again, and eventually we do fill that profile in full. You get accepted into the profile. More often than not, you are going to get that full move to the value area low where we had our key level of support. And this was kind of that emergency level that we had on Friday, guys. The daily naked point of control at 83,898 in confluence with our value area low. And this is where we were saying, guys, over the weekend, if we come down here, we could potentially look for longs as we deviate below the low. But if you do not have any reason to look for that long position, right, you may want to sit on your hands and wait for the bigger drop down, because if you cannot reclaim this daily naked point of control, that is where I see a much higher probability of getting the bigger drop to the downside towards our bigger key levels of support. And that is exactly what we saw, right? You lose the key level, you cannot get back above, and you get the bigger drop down. When I bring up these doorways to lower prices, or even doorways to higher prices, there is a reason for it, right? It's not just that I'm looking at the chart saying, oh man, if we lose 84K, that's bearish, right? Because it's 84,000. That's even, somewhat of a psychological number, right? It's based off the fact that, below this daily naked point of control, right, you can't get accepted into the upper value. You're going to be expecting a bigger drop to the downside, where we knew the next level of support was this daily naked point of control at 79,195. But at that point, right, sure, literally, could you get some turbulence? Yes. But at that point, you're getting so close to that liquidity that you have sitting down here. Price is probably going to get gravitated towards that liquidity, right? And that's why I didn't really, this was the key level, not this, right? Because if you lose this, very likely you go hunt out that liquidity. And then this is just kind of like an intermediary level that maybe you get a bounce off of, which we did. But at that point, you're so close to that liquidity down here that it's probably going to get sucked down. And that's exactly what we saw happen. So we'll see what happens here, guys. And at the end of the day, right, that 2-day money flow crossover into the red, whether we get the big rip up from here or not, I am going to be anticipating lower highs and lower lows. And the question is, if we get a bigger retracement up, where is that lower high likely to come in at? And I'm just going to mark out these levels for you guys so you can get them on your chart and understand kind of what we're looking at, right? So number one, right, the major level, right? And I'll kind of walk you through this, right? As we got this move to the downside, we looked for lower highs and lower lows to come in based off money flow and just the market structure in general. But, when we got here, that first retracement brought us up into the golden pocket 786, where's the highest probability area to put in a lower high. It's going to be between those two fib levels. We got a little bounce, little retest, and then we lost the low, right? So if we do see something similar like this happen, I will be looking pulled from the low, or I'm sorry, from the high here to the low. This, actually, let me come on down to a little bit of a lower time frame. If we do get, more of a significant retracement, which again, I don't really have super high hopes for. Could it happen? Yes. Am I long? Yes. Am I, happy or am I okay getting stopped out of this? Yes. I would actually almost expect it, right? But if we do pull this Fibonacci retracement, at the end of the day, right, we would potentially, I would actually pull it from this local high, right? We could look for a potential, let's say we just start squeezing shorts here. There are aggressive areas where we could put in, more aggressive lower highs, right? We'll take a look at some anchored VWAPs in a minute. But, I'll take a look at the local levels as well. But in the grand scheme of things, right, if we're going to get a significant retracement back up, I would be looking at this golden pocket 786 retracement, getting pretty close to 90K at that 786, because this is just your golden pocket 786 retracement, right? If we're looking for lower highs and lower lows and the continuation of this downtrend, this would be a big, big level. If the bigger retracement comes in, this is where I would be looking for that lower high to potentially, if we come up here first, right, before we come down to our real key levels, if we come up here first, that's where I'd be looking for the short confirmations to potentially send this thing back down to break structure to the downside once again, right, in continuation of that downtrend, based off money flow, based off the overall market structure, right? And we know golden pocket 786, highest probability areas to put in those lower highs and continue down. So that's what we're looking for, right? Now, obviously, we do have some local levels that we could keep an eye on. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to look at. Let's take the day trade levels here. So Obviously you have some local levels in here as well, right? So, I can pull this hyper. I'm not going to bring up every single hyper local level, but we do have a local golden pocket 786 here. We actually already have come into the super, super local levels. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if this stops out, but if we do continue up here, local levels, golden pocket 81,460 up to the 786 at about 82,621. This would be a big, big level to be looking at. If we do come up here, I will be taking more profit on my long and, just protecting myself in case that is the lower high situation, right? So these are, I'm just going to mark these out so you guys can get them on your actual chart here, right? So this is kind of your local fib sitting right here, 82,621 to 81,419. If we do wind up getting all the way above that, right, and you start pushing up, not honorable mention, but another key level, right? You have your, I'm going to get rid of this 786 real quick. Let's get rid of that, right? Because we obviously lost that. And again, that made this level key as well, right? Daily naked point of control 786 and the daily naked point of control. It made this whole kind of confluent area of resistance, right? Support. Because if we were going to bounce here, you would want to hold that 786 for a potential continuation of the uptrend, right? We lost that. We lost the daily naked point of control. At that point, you expect lower. But first stop, if we get a bigger retracement for some reason, that's where I'm going to be looking. If we break above that 786, you're kind of running right into some more resistance, which is your value area low. And again, let me get rid of that 786 because it's now tapped. Whoops, come on. Bada boom, there we go. So you have your 786 and your tapped daily naked point of control up there as well. I'm actually going to label this tapped. I do like to keep these on the chart for a little while, although, once it's tapped, it kind of, in my opinion, becomes a lot less significant. But let me see if I can grab this. Bada boom, just so we know it's a tapped daily, right? Bada boom. So, once you get above that 786, sure, locally that is somewhat of a decent sign, but you're really just running into your value area low. So at that point, this is going to be key resistance. Once you flip that to support, I think that opens up the door for a little bit more of a move to the upside into your major fib level that I just talked about with your golden pocket pulled from this significant swing high to the low. Golden pocket, your anchored VWAP is right now in confluence with this level. This will likely not be the case if we continue to come up here. So I'm going to take this off the chart, and I'm actually just going to move this. I'm going to pull this to our previous swing high here. And you can see, right, this anchored VWAP, depending on how long it takes us to get up here, could wind up being confluent with that value area low. So let me change this to purple, right, for resistance. So these are definitely going to be, again, on the off chance that we do see the bigger retracement come in, on the off chance, right, zone number 1, definitely going to be careful here. Get above that. Zone number 2, this is key resistance, also a key level to flip to support. Once you flip that to support, we could look for a potential move into the golden pocket / 786 Fibonacci retracement, which that 786 does come very close to our POC of the range. And at that point, once you get above this value area low, you're basically just looking at this as a volume profile. Like, hey, we caught an entry all the way down here. We're already in massive profit up here. Stop losses at break even, guaranteed winning trade. If it hops above the value area low and sends us to the POC, that's great. We continue to profit on the long and just look for that continuation through the profile, right? Get above the 786. Obviously, your next level is going to be that value area high. But again, I would have to say, I just have a, I don't want to say ever trade off your gut feelings, but, and which I'm not, but I do have a gut feeling. Not that I'm trading based off the gut feeling, but, I do have a feeling that we could potentially get a bigger drop down here just because, sure, you have the money flow coming up on the lower time frames. You have the daily, you have the local bullish divergences. But again, we have all that liquidity now sitting below this wick, right? Which is essentially leading us into about, let's just check it again, right? Leading us into 76.4, right? Which sits right on this daily naked point of control, right? So, when you have this liquidity below, remember, guys, liquidity acts as a magnet for price. So once we lose this daily naked point of control, probably, again, going to come sweep that liquidity below this low into the next daily naked, sitting at, 76.4, which, again, is coincidentally right where that liquidity starts to slow down. Now, if we get a bigger wick to the downside, 75K could be likely, right? So I'll pull up the bada boom, right? Whoops. Not this. Right, bringing us down into our bigger long zone, right, 786 at 76K, and then we have the weekly naked point of control sitting right down here at about 74.9. So this brings us into our zone, right, and at that point, we are taking a lot of that liquidity down below. So I really would prefer for the bigger move up, again, not that you can't just randomly yeet up here, but I would say the higher probability or what I would be more comfortable taking a big long off of is getting the full sweep of liquidity into the bigger key level of support. So we still have not hit this level. So, again, until then, right, it's just small scalp positions. I already have my profits locked in here. So if that stops out, it's not a big deal. We'll just wait for that higher time frame setup. Now, what does this mean, right, for the long-term outlook on Bitcoin? Frankie, is the bear market in? Again, as I've been saying, it's really hard to call here at this point, guys. We could see a lot more pain play out for the next month or two, or maybe even a little bit longer than that. It's really hard, just to say the bear market's in, right? I could say that, and maybe there's a chance of me being right. But, we are coming down to even if we lose this 786, I'm going to show you exactly why. Even if we lose this 786, we do have key support down below. And we talked about this last week. I finally started showing this. If I'm showing this, I'm sorry. It's our, lower folder of support here. And this does have a macro golden pocket. This is pulled from the overall swing low on August 5th, right, where we have that big liquidation event all the way to our high here. That golden pocket does come in perfect confluence with our structural highs here, right? This technical support level that we have on the highs of this 7-month consolidation, right? And once we broke above this, we got the big move up. So this could be a very, very big level to come back and retest if we do lose that 786. So I will be looking for longs down here as well. But just on the flip side of that, we will be looking for shorts on the way back down as well, right? I'm not just like, this is the bottom, we're going to gig along this, and the bull market's definitely going to restart there. But from a technical perspective, let me just relabel this so I can see a little bit better. Bada boom, get that, and I'll just make this I'll just take this off, right? And I'll just take that level. Bada boom, bada bing, right? Just to clear up the chart. But if we lose that 786, we lose that lower support zone that I'm talking about. The next level, guys, is definitely going to be sitting down here between 72,358 all the way down to the value area high at about 69,950. This is the next key level of support. So if we lose the 786, right? If this, then that. Right? This is the next key level of support. Now, just underneath that, we do have the POC of the range sitting at 67,319. Hopefully, we don't see that. Hopefully we see that later than sooner. But if I had to bring up like worst case scenario, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Maybe I'll do a pre-recorded video giving like my full thoughts on what I'm expecting here. Maybe we go into a little kind of like if we go into like a crazy recession or something macroeconomic breaks and we just see a bigger kind of black swan event happen. There is a possibility, right? Not only that we come down and play with these levels, guys, but if we start breaking below this value area high, POC is very likely to get hit at 67.2, right? And then once you start losing that POC, guys, like at the end of the day, if you're looking at this from an auction market theory standpoint, right, where you have your value area up here and your value area down here, like another reason why we really pay attention to this level, not just because it's structural, right? It's kind of obvious, but when you lose this value area, where's the next likely place for price to go? It is more than likely going to seek out previous balance. Where is your previous balance? It's all the way down here, right? And when you break down bearish retest and you start to break structure, right? Like this is what you expect, right? And if we continue down, you're very simply going to get attracted to or sucked to like a magnet down to that next previous area of balance. When price gets an imbalance out of a value area, it has a couple of things it could do. It could create new balance, shout out to the sneakers, as I always say, right? Just create new value somewhere, right? Or it is more likely than not going to seek out previous balance, which does sit all the way down here, right? So this is definitely something that we could see play out. This is definitely not out of the cards. This is not like you're not guaranteed not to come down here. This is definitely something we could see happen. Now, at that point, this is going to feel like a bear market. And could it be the start of the bear market? Yes. But if we're going to see a traditional 75 to 78% drop on Bitcoin for a 4-year cycle bear market, right, that's where we're looking for a drop down to like 28 to 30K. Right? That's kind of where I would anticipate a traditional bear market to bring us. And there are a lot of things on the charts here, guys, that have popped up at previous all-time highs before the bear market came in. But there's also a lot of things that haven't, as I've been saying, right? Like crazy retail sentiment never really came back like it did in the previous cycles. I don't want to beat that dead horse because I've covered it so many times, but it's a really hard call up here to say if this is guaranteed the top. But for the most part, the higher time frame continuation down, in my opinion, is likely. So those next big levels, just to kind of like hopefully, ease the blow so it's not a shocker, right? We took a look at 80K before we got down there when we were bing-bonging up here, hopefully getting everybody ready to see those levels so you're not panicking, oh my God, what's happening, right? We knew we had the low volume gap. We knew we had the liquidity. We knew that once we lost these range lows, we were going to see a fast drop to the downside, and we saw exactly that. And hopefully I gave you guys a little bit of peace of mind to understand that if you do break those lows, you will see not only a drop, but a fast, aggressive drop based off the liquidity. And, again, it gives you that kind of confidence of like, I know why we're seeing price dump so fast. It's not that like, oh my God, the whales are selling. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, right? But it's not that the whales are selling. It's really just the big liquidation events, which is where you want to start looking for the longs. And what happens? You get the big rip to the upside. So just to prepare you guys, if we do continue down, 72 to about $70,185, maybe even lower, about 70K, this blue box is going to be definitely the next major key level of support. And if we don't catch support on the daily, weekly naked point of control /786 that we have down here, that is going to be the next place for price to go. And then once we start getting accepted into this range, we have to anticipate the POC and potentially a full fill of that range for a drop down to the value area low macro 786 sitting right here between between 61,000, almost 62K, all the way down to about, let me just grab the actual box here so it's a little easier to say, 61,978 to 59,553. Right? And then, down here, what is the next thing that's going to happen? Right? Well, me personally, as a trader, right, I'm going to be handling this as, hey, if we can catch some shorts on a retest here, ride it down here, beautiful, get accepted in, shorts continue to pay us out, and then once we come down here, we could potentially look for longs. And based off of what the charts look like at this time, it's impossible to predict. What does the high time frame money flow look like? Is the 2-day crossing back into the green? Is the weekly money flow starting to curve back up? In which case, we could look for long positions back into the range, back to the high. And then maybe we come back up to all-time highs, right? It's like hard to call that just now. We're going to have to wait for price to come down here, reassess the situation. But, if we come down there, guys, at the end of the day, get sucked into the range, go to the POC, lose the POC, go to the low. We start losing this range, right? The question is, well, what happens when we start losing this range, right? Where's that next area, value area, right? I'm going to show you in a second, and not a lot of people are going to want to see this, but I'll show you. But once we start losing this, what is Market Cipher doing, right? What is the weekly money flow doing? Well, to be quite honest, money flow ain't looking too good right now on the weekly, right? This money flow crossover on the weekly has marked the start of the bear market every single cycle, right? And not the start of the bear market, but like it's basically confirmed that you are about to get the big drop into the bear market. I show this all the time on the live stream. I showed it even when we were, we used this as an opportunity to look to start buying the lows here last cycle. Anytime you get these money flow crossovers on the weekly, massive drop into the bear market, and then we spent a whole lot of time down at the lows, even back here, right? Money flow crossover into the red right before the massive drop down, right? Money flow crossover into the red right before the big drop down. Now, is that going to send us into a traditional bear market? Well, historically, it has been the big sign, right? But we'll have to assess the situation and see what happens. I still stand by my belief remains the same. This would be the most lackluster Bitcoin bull run with the most fundamental bullish catalysts ever, right? We are simply, 57% above the previous all-time high with the most, pro-crypto president. I don't know why I couldn't put those words together. Pro-crypto president. We have all the ETFs, all this bullish stuff. But, that doesn't just mean that you're just going to shoot up and to the right immediately, right? So, at that point, this would be the most lackluster if we go into a traditional 4-year bear cycle, right? And again, if we did go into a full bear market, right, and we do come down to, say, 30K, 28K potentially, this does line up with some previous macro volume profiles that we have from the previous bull market. So this will be, I'm not looking at this just yet, but this will be, to answer the question, if we lose our next volume profile, where can we look for price to go? Well, guys, the best thing I can do is give you the roadmap on where I think price will go next. Again, calling the top here, saying this is the top of the bull market. It could be, right? I could say, guys, that's the top of the bull market. We have a weekly bull div, a monthly bear, weekly bear div, a monthly bear div, money flow coming out. Like, that's the top. But again, there's a lot of things that have not happened this cycle yet that we do traditionally see happen at the top of bull markets that we have not seen here yet. But if we come down here, right, price is going to seek out. We have previous value here, previous value here, previous value here. So, if we don't hold the 786, probably going to start working within this local volume profile. Once we start losing those lows, what happens, right? You're potentially getting accepted into your macro bull market range from 2021. And then once you get stuck below this level, guys, that is where you start to think, well, hey, if we get stuck underneath here and we can't get out, probably going to get sucked towards that POC, right? 33K, start losing that POC, looking down to the value area low at about $30,000. And then that is really, right, if you see that happen, right, that's about a 72% dump to the downside, right? Maybe you wick below a little bit more. That's more of a traditional bear market. And then, traditionally, right, traditional, right, you would kind of just sit around here at the lows for a little bit. Maybe you even break it, deviate below the lows for a little while before reclaiming and then sending it back up to the highs. Like, if this is the top of the bull market, right, this is kind of what I would expect it to play out like, right, just following the volume profiles. But at the end of the day, right, if we hold this golden pocket or even the 786 at the end of this, right, you do still have an opportunity to get a bounce out of here. So again, it's really hard to call for the bear market to be 100% guaranteed in, right? Anyone calling for that has a chance of being right. But in my opinion, it's hard to call from a chart perspective. I can't just be like, it's 100% guaranteed. As with anything, like, I wouldn't even say it's like an 80% chance. It's a really sticky situation that we're here in this cycle. This is a very, very difficult bull cycle, guys. And again, if we come down to this value area low and we come down to these lows around, 50, 60K, right? That's a 40, almost a 50% dump. We've seen that happen before back here before coming back up to highs. And, again, maybe these people calling for the bear market up here, I would say they were correct in hindsight. But what happened? The price action still got the move to the upside, right? So it's not just as easy as calling the top and saying we're going down, right? Because if you were coming down here being like, guys, that's it, it's over, then you get a massive rip up, right? And I'm just not willing to get everybody wrecked like that personally, right? So when we come down to support, we're looking for bounces. And then, on the retests is really where you start to see those warning signs, right? Like you get the big drop down from here, the bearish retest. This is where I called for the bear market, right? And I didn't even come up here and say it's 100% the bear market. I just said, be careful, guys. There's a lot of things pointing towards the bear market coming in. Could we yeet up to 100K? Maybe. Everybody was looking for that. But we had the blood diamond, the bearish retest. We had some kind of a bear flag scenario playing out here. And more importantly, that weekly money flow crossover was a huge sign in cooperation with that weekly blood diamond that we were going to drop down here. And we were right about that, right? But it's not us calling the top at the top, right? This is very hard to do. You have to wait for structure to kind of form and be like, hey, yikes, this is not looking good. Money flow's coming out. This is a lackluster retracement for a lower high and a likely big continuation down, because if that weekly crosses over, that's usually the start of the bear market. So once we start seeing something a little bit more like that, it's going to be a little bit more likely that the bear market is in. But right now, I'm kind of just playing it level to level. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. 68K will be very decisive. Shout out to Don. I don't know exactly what you mean by decisive, or you mean like it's very likely that we come down there. I would say once you start breaking below these highs, I would say it's very likely as well. Once you start breaking below that value area high, there is probably an 80% chance that you come down to that POC. I have no money left to buy the dip. You ever see that meme? I buy the dip. And then the dip. Shout out to Bitfrog. Yeah. I am also, someone asked me earlier today in the premium Discord, what alts am I looking to buy? I am not buying any alts right now. Like I said in previous live streams, I am letting things shake out here, right? Because again, right, if we pull up Bitcoin dominance, take a real quick look at that. That is not what I wanted to do. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin dominance. As you guys know, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do either. If we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, actually over on this chart, bada boom, right? You guys know, this is not the chart that we want. Where is my actual chart here? Here it is. Is this it? This is not it. Where am I? Where is my 2025? Bear with me here, guys. We're going to pull up that Bitcoin dominance chart. 2025. Okay, so here it is. BTC. Okay, so for Bitcoin dominance, guys, like, as we've been talking about for a while now, I check it on Bitcoin dominance like when it's relevant, right? What do we have here? We are above the value area low. We flipped that value area low to support, and we are pushing up here, right? At this point, until we lose this value area low, and more importantly, this golden pocket, we have to reject these levels and get a dump in order for alt season to start, in my opinion, right? Like, this is it's not a perfect indicator, but it's very likely, what you see. But at the end of the day, right, where am I interested in altcoins, right? I'm interested when we're looking like we want to reject a very key level. And right now, we have played around with this value area low. We held the golden pocket, and now we're flipping this value area low to support once again. So until, in my opinion, we start to approach this POC once again, right? This is a area number one that we might have a high probability of rejecting. This is where I'm looking at altcoins. What are the alt charts looking like? Are we getting bull divs on the higher time frames? Are we seeing high time frame money flow come up? Until then, right? If Bitcoin dominance is going to shoot up here, there's no reason to be looking to buy the dip, in my opinion, on alts just yet. Right? Now, could you start dollar cost averaging, right? As Bitcoin dominance goes up, your alt's going down, so you're just dollar cost averaging up as Bitcoin dominance spikes. You could try that, right? But for me, I'd rather approach the key resistance and then look at the alt charts and be like, okay, these are looking like they're looking to bottom out. Bitcoin dominance is coming up to key resistance, which could call for another dump to the downside. And that's where I like to look at alts. Like I was saying earlier today in the premium live stream, last time I dropped some sauce on altcoins, like as far as buying the dip and looking for massive pumps on alts in the premium, was when we were coming up here to what? Key resistance. This was a golden pocket where we knew there was a chance of a rejection. And that's where we dumped all the TA on the alts. And then what happens? We get the big rejection, and a lot of those alts hit all of our targets and went into new all-time highs for the newer altcoins, and the other altcoins went into major key levels of resistance. And then again, we just wound up getting the bounce, and then basically everything got eaten back up. But this call was beautiful, right? And that's because we waited for Bitcoin dominance to hit a key level of resistance. That's where you want to be interested. There's no reason to really be interested as Bitcoin dominance is climbing, because the alts are just going to bleed against Bitcoin anyway, right? Now, that's level number one. This is 64.29%. And again, this is just like a regular volume profile. We broke above the value area low last time. Where'd we go? Right into that POC. So if we're going to see Bitcoin dominance fly up there, that's level number one. Flip the POC. The next key level of resistance is going to be the 786 of this golden pocket, which is sitting at 66.21%. right? That's another level. Like, I'm interested in being like, hey, let me check in on alts right here. Hey, let me check in on alts right here. Chances are, if you are seeing Bitcoin dominance looking bearish, like it wants to dump from one of these levels, that's where the altcoins may start to look like they're putting in some bottoms. And that's where I would be willing to potentially look to buy the dip on some of the alts. Now, if we flip that 786, guys, max pain for the altcoins, potentially flip that 786 and come up to the value area high at about 69%. This would be crazy, but it's definitely in the cards as far as key levels. So those are the major zones. You could just, I mean, they're labeled here, so you could easily get them on your chart. These are the zones. Bitcoin dominance approaches here. I'm looking at the alts, not necessarily just buying, right? But assessing the altcoin charts. Are they looking like they're putting in bottoms? That's where it's like, hey, maybe I'll start to DCA in, right? Second level, 66.21, and then that last level at 69.04%. So that's what I'm looking at. Now, we can also look at total 3. Take a look here, right? What are we looking at here? We talked about this many, many a times on the live stream. It's the same thing, right? Or the same thing kind of as Bitcoin, right? We want to get back into this volume profile, but what happened? We came up, we bearishly retested, and we come down. We're breaking structure, right? This is what we expect. Until we get back up here and we start to trend up and flip this value area low, this would be good. This would be good for altcoins, right? But until we see this stuff happen, right, there's no reason. It's like people calling like even on this retest, guys, a lot of people, it's like, oh my God, I'm not that they're looking at these levels. I don't know anybody else who's looking at the volume profile on Total 3. But like even when you retest these levels, it's like, sure, if you flip this to support, that could be good for altcoins. But what is your money flow doing? Your money flow is coming out, making it a higher probability that this is a bearish retest for a rejection back down rather than a massive pump to the upside. If you want a massive pump on total 3, like you could stick to market cipher B, right? Invert this. You would want this to be a big red wave, and you would want to see your money flow going from red crossing into the green. We are literally seeing the opposite of that happen, right? If we were testing this value area low as resistance, and that was what money flow looked like going from the red into the green, then it would be like, hey guys, we might be ready to see alt season, because if we flip this, we could send it to this POC value area high. That would be very good. But again, this is inverted, right? This is really what we're dealing with. This indicates a continuation of the downtrend, right? So that's why I'm sitting on my hands with the alts, right? I don't need to bottom tick the alts, right? So once we start seeing this stuff shape up a little bit more, that's where I go to the altcoin charts, and that's where I'm looking for bottom signals. I'm looking for high time frame divs. I'm looking for high time frame money flow coming back out. But until we see that, I'm gonna kind of let things shake out here because I don't want to get caught buying at the highs. And then even look at something like peak, something I talk about a lot, or what would talk about a lot when we were there we go, melted right through our fib level. I DCA'd into this on the pre-sale dump, and now this thing is getting absolutely crushed. I'm not just DCAing in because we're coming down, because there's no reason, right? Like, okay, we got a little bounce here. Is this a macro bottom? Well, check total 3, check Bitcoin dominance. Probably not a good dip to buy, right? The dip will probably keep dipping, right? And we are. So keep that in mind, right? That's kind of how I'm handling the altcoins. Shout out to Creighton C. Thank you for the super chat, bro. We're going to take a look at some of the altcoins here, guys. Let's see. What's up, brother? Always appreciate your TA. Shout out to Darren. Not Darren Does Things. This is Darren Ransom. Don't mess with him. You might be dealing with some ransom deals. But yeah, shout out to you, bro. No problem. I'm happy to give you guys the TA up here. This is why I'm here. Shout out to Creighton C. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He said, if you're new and you bought high and you own alts, listen to Frankie. He's not a bull or a bear. He's a trader. He's telling you what he sees in the charts. That's all. You should listen to him. Shout out to Creighton C. He said that, not me. Shout out to Creighton C. But yeah, guys, I am giving you unbiased TA here. I'm not a bull. I'm not a bear. I am a trader, which, to be honest with you, is very beneficial for anybody who wants to watch this show, because I have no incentive, right? Like, I don't care if being bullish is going to get me more views. I don't care. If I think it's going down, just like last week, if I think we're going to get a bigger drop to the downside into our next key levels, I'm going to call for that, because that's what the charts say. I am completely agnostic. I have no reason to call for upside. I don't shill scam coins, right? Like, I am here to provide the best free value I possibly can. My whole point of having this YouTube channel is to develop a resource, not only in our YouTube channel, not only from the free tutorials that we have on the channel, not only in these live streams, not only in the market updates, but in our Discord, everything. My whole point of making this YouTube channel and my whole goal here is to create an ecosystem of not only free value, but the best paid value as well when you're ready to take that next step up, to create a resource that I wish I had when I was learning how to trade. I wish someone would go live every day and explain all this stuff to me, why we saw moves up, where we're looking for the bounces. I wish someone was out there doing that. And if they were, I wasn't there to find them. So that's my whole reason for being here. I'm agnostic. I'm not a bull. I'm not a bear. I'm not a perma bull. I'd say I'm a perma bull on Bitcoin overall, right? Bitcoin goes up into the right over enough time. It is the best performing asset. But yeah, I am only going to give you guys the sauciest, most raw, unbiased TA. I have no reason to do anything else, right? Unless I was looking for like the most views possible, I'd probably just be like super bullish all the time. But I don't care about that, right? I can't be like new all-time highs incoming, and then I show the charts and I'm like, yeah, guys, we're probably going to 50K, right? Like I can't do that, right? So yeah. But let's see. Let's see. Shout out to Tommy Martin said, what would you do with 1K? As far as like buying spot bags, I mean, it really depends on your, if you have 1K to invest in crypto, I would probably pay a lot of attention to crypto right now as it's coming down. Like, put it this way, even if we're entering a full-on 4-year cycle bear market, this is more than if this is not, right? Like, let's assume this is the start of the bear market, right? We're never going above 110K. Not saying I think that, but let's just assume that's the case, because it's definitely possible, right? I would triple down on my focus and my attention on studying the charts, studying, whatever you use for research on crypto. I would triple down on that research, right? Because if this is a bear market, this is the time to start paying attention, right? I always say, this is not the time to get into the market, right? This is the time to get into the market, right? And you have to endure the boring, non-exciting, Bitcoin not going up days, months, years, right? To get, you have to be willing to accept the moves down to get the benefit of when it goes up. So, I told people when I started my YouTube channel here, right? People were like, dang, bro, you started a crypto YouTube channel in the start of the bull market, start of the bear market. Like, that must be rough. Absolutely not. Because number one, we trade our way. If it's a bear market, the faster you learn how to make money when it goes down, the better off you'll be. Because you could capitalize on these moves down just like you do on the moves up. But you're just going to be shorting it on the way down. And it's also, even if you're not going to short it on the way down, maybe you're not ready to start trading, right? Double down on your research here, because this is what you want. You want to pray for this thing to come down so you can pick it back up at cheaper prices, not buying in at the highs. So now, if this is the start of the bear market, let's just assume, right? Again, not what I feel, but if it is, right, because it's definitely possible, this is where you want to start paying attention to. And everybody who was watching our channel back here listening to that was paying attention at the perfect time. And I know a lot of those Mafia members are, not as freaked out up here because they were buying in at the right times, right? You don't want to come in when everybody's talking about crypto. When, I just had my sister actually just hit me up, and she was saying, like, someone at the bank was telling her about this thing, and they were like, it's like, oh, you should buy it. And I'm like, oh, man, that's like not a good sign, man. It's like, at least he worked at a bank, so it's not like your barber telling you what to buy. But I was just like, oh, man, like now you got the people at the bank trying to shill crypto. God, that's not a great sign. But it is 100%. If this is going to be the bear market for another 75% dump on Bitcoin to 30K, this is the time to pay attention, especially if you're not in the market yet. You're not feeling any of this pain. Let things shake out. I would, with $1,000 personally, I would probably stick more on altcoins, because you have to think to yourself, if you ripped up on Bitcoin from here back to all-time highs, that's 40% increase, right? With $1,000, that's not necessarily going to be life-changing money, but you have to be careful with the altcoins, not just buying any random scam that people are shilling. You have to do your research. You have to put in the work and find out what's a good coin to buy, what has good fundamentals. But yeah, I would probably stick to altcoins personally, just because when you have lower money, you got to stick to those lower market caps, but really hard, right? Like, I would probably be sitting on my hands learning as much as I possibly can, and then, trying to figure out when that alt season might be coming, and then start to buy some dips. Let's see. If it is bear market, you wait the bottom, you buy coins like BTC at the bottom, and you wait 3 to 4 years, you will make a ton of cash. Yeah, shout out to Shunzin. 100%, right? Like, I get so many people in my personal life, like, should I buy? Like, I'm not going to lie, guys. Like, if I, and take this, like, to the bank, right? Nobody, only calls I got here from friends and family, non-crypto people. That's why I say friends and family, because a lot of my friends and family are not in crypto. A lot of them are too. But, all the phone calls that come in down here are, hey, bro, are you okay? Like, I heard Bitcoin's a scam and it's going to zero. Like, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm great. We anticipated this. Like, we've been waiting for this for a long time. Like, I'm totally fine. This is a good thing. And then I let them know. I even set like a group message like, hey, guys, I feel a responsibility. I'm not telling you to buy crypto, but I am accumulating down at these prices. Like, my cousins that buy crypto, like, I let them all know, like, hey, I'm buying crypto down here. Just feel a responsibility to tell you guys that. I could not be the bottom. I don't know. But, no one really cares. They're like, yeah, I'm going to stick out of that, bro. That thing just dumped 78%. I'm good. It looks like a scam. But that is literally the best time to buy. When do I get those messages again? I get them not even up here. Maybe some up here, but most of them came in up here. Should I buy XRP? Should I buy Cardano? Like, what should I buy? It's like, low key, you should have been buying down here when we were talking about it. Like, but this is really where that retail investor comes in, right? And oftentimes, even if it's not the all-time high, right, they do come in at tops, right? A lot of people came in at this top too, felt a whole lot of pain, probably sold the bottom, only to get another massive rip to the upside. So it's a hard game, guys. It's a hard game, especially if you're new to investing in general. Crypto is the hardest thing to get used to, because you have to get ready for these big dumps, these big pumps, this massive volatility. My altcoins down 50%. Like, I've been here, right? Like I've seen altcoins dip way harder than that. It's just, you have to have patience, right? Because when you come in, right, and the retail investor kind of gets screwed over, right? Because if they do come in here, some of them will buy and then they're up instantly for like a week or two or whatever it is, right? And then they get the first dip and they're like, wait, what the heck? This doesn't just go up? What happened? Oh my God, this is a scam. What happened, right? So they kind of get like teased because if you come in on hype, sometimes you will buy a big green candle and you'll kind of catch a little bit of a move up, but you're very close to getting another retracement back down. So they get really excited. And then that's why this feels so painful for a lot of people. So yeah, but let's continue on here. Bada boom, bada bing. Yeah, shout out to Seb says, Frankie knows the score. You've got to do your 10,000 hours of crypto research to earn your stripes and be as a profitable trader. School of Dumps and Hard Knocks. Yeah, shout out to Sebs. Yeah, 100%. You gotta put in the research. You got to put in the time, and you really got to have some patience, right? You definitely do. So if you are new to this market, don't feel bad if you're down on your bags. Like, welcome to crypto, baby. Welcome to crypto. Let's see. Yeah, common sense isn't so common. Shout out to Warpaint. When it comes to investing, absolutely. And I went through this as well, guys. I didn't like come into crypto and was like, you guys are idiots buying tops. Guys, I've bought my fair share of tops. I've sold my fair share of bottoms. I got really greedy at highs. I got really scared at lows, right? I've sold fear, bought greed. I've sold fear. I've bought fear, sold greed. I've done it every which way, right? I started off getting wrecked, just like anyone else, right? So I don't say this to say I'm better. I've just been in this, I've been in crypto since 2016. Pull up the bigger chart, right? So I've been in crypto ever since back here, right? Like late 2016, right? So like closer to like end of 2016, early 2017, I caught this bull run. I went through this and this, right? Crazy. I went through this. I remember where I was sitting when this was happening. So, everyone makes a mistake when you first start out. But really the at the end of the day, you really gotta, you got to put in the work, and you got to be patient more than anything. I'd rather round trip than not have. Yeah, shout out to Peter. Sometimes, at least Bitcoin, right? At this point, guys, if we round trip Bitcoin, if I were to round trip Bitcoin, not that I plan on doing this, but like, let's say we just like mega nuke down here, right? Like I'm still technically up, right? Obviously a lot less than I am up here. But at the end of the day, I have a long-term outlook on crypto. I plan on holding Bitcoin, at least a portion of my Bitcoin for many, many years to come. So, sometimes you can't catch, right? Like if we were to get some kind of flash black swan event like we've never seen before, I doubt this will ever happen. And we got a massive nuke down to like 30K for some reason in one shot, which again, very unlikely. But at that point, right? Like, am I just going to sell my Bitcoin here for a little bit of, like, I might as well just hold it, buy more, and just have that longer term outlook. And whether that comes back up in 2030, whenever it is, right? Like, we're just buying this thing and holding it, right? Like BlackRock, all these institutions, governments are not going to be buying something they don't think is going to go back up, right? So if you never really had conviction in crypto on these big dumps, like, just remember this, right? Remember this on the big dumps down. Down here gets very scary. Exchanges going down. US-based exchanges are going down. Celebrity endorsed exchanges are going down. But this is the best time to be getting into crypto at max fear. Just remember that. It's very hard. It's much easier said than done. It's simple. It's not easy. I always say this. Trading and investing is just, it's like going to the gym. Hey, are you overweight? Are you scrawny? Do you want to build muscle? Do you want to lose fat? It's simple. Just go to the gym, eat right, and work out. Very simple. It's literally that simple. Go to the gym, work out consistently, and eat a good diet consistently. Don't slip up. Have discipline, right? That simple, but not easy. If you've ever tried to go to the gym or start a fitness journey, you know it's simple, but it's not easy. Why can't I just get to the gym, right? It's the same thing with trading, right? Buy low, sell high. It's easy, or simple, right? But it's not easy. It's too simple and easy are two different things. Let's see. I could hold for 2030. Yeah, shout out to Eileen. Yeah. That's the truth, Frankie. Shout out to Warpaint. Let's go, baby. But yeah, we'll keep an eye here on Bitcoin, guys. Those are my general thoughts. Like I said, we got the move down. We looked for the move down. We got it, right? Down to our key level. Let me pull it back up here. All right. So we looked for the move down. We wound up getting it. Money flow, daily red dots will very rarely lie. We get the drop down. We swept some of that liquidity. But again, if we stop out of this long position, like I said, not really a huge deal. I would kind of expect this, right? So if we lose this daily naked point of control, right, we can't get back above it. I would look to sweep that liquidity into our actual key levels of support, which once again is sitting for anyone who just tuned in. Next key levels of support are sitting Just make sure I didn't delete anything there. Bada boom, right? Sitting down here between our daily naked point of control, 786, and weekly naked point of control, that zone, so you can get it on your charts, 76,609 all the way to 74,880. So again, I am scalp long here with the anticipation of getting stopped out for the bigger setup. Like I've been saying, I've been waiting for the bigger levels to the downside for my next big trades. That is this level. We still have not hit that, but I have taken a shot at the long here. And then obviously if we shot up first, I was looking for the bigger shorts up here. But obviously, as we anticipated, based off money flow in the daily and the higher time frames, that move down was much more likely. So there we go. But we'll keep an eye on this as we move forward here in the stream. I want to take a look at some of the altcoins because what were we looking at on Ethereum, guys, last week? Where are we at? Here we are. Bada boom, bada bing, right? So what were we looking at last week on Ethereum, guys? If we can't hold that value area low, very similar to Bitcoin losing its local value area low, we can't get back up above it into that value area low. Where is price going to likely go for Ethereum? It's going to seek out that previous area of balance. Where is that previous area of balance? Well, unfortunately, I actually have some good sauce here on Ethereum. It's sitting right down here, guys. Shout out to anybody watching Friday's live stream. Here we are, once again, sitting between the value area low and the POC of our previous profile here. You lose this range. Price is more likely than not. Like, just to spit this real quick for you guys. Price ranges 80% of the time, right? When you impulse out of a range, price is likely, right? I'll just kind of draw this out. This is similar to what Ethereum did, right? When you impulse out of a range, you will either find new value or respect previous value. And I'll say this, more often than not, it's honestly a little bit more rare, in my opinion, to see. So let's say you have this. This is what the ETH chart looks like. It actually is. I can show this on the live price action too, but I'll just draw it to make it simple. You have your 2021 range up here. You drop down. You start to consolidate, right? If Ethereum rips out of here and gets imbalanced, inside your volume profile is the fair value for Ethereum in this case, right? When you imbalance and you leave an area of value, where is it likely to go? Like I said, it can only do a few things. It's either going to find new value. Maybe it finds a new range, right? But more often than not, it's going to seek out a previous value area, right? And that's where you look for price to rip up. You're going to get attracted to that value area low. Once you flip that value area low, you look for a move to the POC, wherever that is, usually living in the middle of the range. And then you look for that move above the POC into the value area high for a full fill of that volume profile, right? Then you deviate above. If you get stuck back in the range, you look to go to the POC, the value area low. Once you lose this range, where are you going to look to go? You're going to look to attract to that previous area of value. Value area high, lose the value area high, you look to go to the POC. You lose that POC, you look to go to the value area low. Very simply put, price action will be gravitated towards these areas of value. This is how we're able to make these predictions so accurately. This is how we're able to snipe these longs and shorts on the scalps inside the volume profile. And if we look at the actual Ethereum chart here, you can see this is exactly what the chart looks like, right? You have your 2021 value area. You deviate down below. Once you come up here to the value area low, resistance until proven otherwise, you hit your head. Once you get up there and flip it to support, you look to go to the POC, flip the POC, go to the value area high. Get stuck back in the range, go to the value area low. Go back to the high, deviate above, get stuck back in, you go to the value area low. Once you lose this range, where's price going to go? It's going to go into that previous value area. It's going to very likely gravitate towards that zone, right? This is why we love the volume profiles. They are the most overpowered trading tool that you could possibly use. And what happens? We come down here. I know it doesn't look like it, but that value area low did give us almost perfect support, right? Not a lot, right? But what happens? Price gets sucked down towards that value area low, or value area high, I'm sorry. You hold it as support, you get a little turbulence, but once you get back into this range and you can't get back out, where are you expecting price to go, guys? Right into that POC. And right now we're trying to reclaim the POC. So maybe we bing bong around here, but at the end of the day, guys, right now, Ethereum is now in its lower profile. So these are the key levels. Value area high, 1942. Great year. I was alive back then. Great year to be alive. So you have your 1941 value area high. Your POC is sitting here at 1851. If you are able to stay above here, this is your key level of resistance, right? And I'll talk about a situation where maybe you get out of here. But more than likely, if you lose that POC, guys, you might start that aggressive trend back down towards the value area low. I don't want to say it. 1644. I'm not saying we're guaranteed to get down here. I'm just saying within terms of the volume profile, if you can't get out of this volume profile and bounce off and hold that POC aggressively, right? You really want to see that bounce out of here aggressively, which isn't looking too good as of right now. You don't want to lose this POC. You lose it, very high probability to come down to that value area low. So just be aware of that. 1644 is the key level. These were the key levels on Friday. Value area high POC. We're sitting there. Lose this POC. Just, again, I hate, I know this seems far away. I know this seems far away, but just know. Lose that POC. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way the Ethereum coin crumbles. Let's see. Check the bull market support band. I will do that right once we wrap up Ethereum here. I'll go pull up the bull market support band for you guys for sure. So yeah, there we are, guys. Like, just sitting there. We bring these levels up for a reason. But until we can break out of this value area high at 1942, I would be looking to potentially respect this range. Right? This is your current volume profile until you break out. If you do break out, value area above at about $2,000 is going to be key resistance. If we take a look at this from a Fibonacci standpoint, from the high to the low here, you do have some kind of confluence here. Yeah, I would really be looking at that value area low as your biggest key level of support. Golden pocket at about 2019 is going to be your local golden pocket that I would look for. So if you do bounce out of here, right, I wouldn't get too excited until you get above this 786 and value area low. And even then, there is an opportunity to potentially come reject that POC once again. But I think that's probably, you've already rejected that POC perfectly. Yeah, I would think, yeah, these are your levels of resistance on Ethereum. I would say, watch this golden pocket, 786. If you get a bounce out of here, again, you still got to get above this value area high, so you have work to do. But local resistance, golden pocket starts at about $2,017. If you can get above that, I would really watch this as the bigger zone, sitting between about $2,069 and $2,100. And this could be a situation where if you're going to continue the downtrend, right, lower high could be likely to come in at that golden pocket 786, lose the value area high, go back down to the POC, etc. Right, fill that range in full for a potential full value fill. Now, if you get above that 786, this is where you could potentially start looking up maybe towards that point of control. But until, you get above that level, I'd be very cautious for local rejections. Again, either on that local golden pocket or this not macro, but this more significant confluent Fibonacci retracement above. Excuse me. I just inhaled a bug. Yep, something in my lungs now. Oh, God. But that's what I'd be looking at on Ethereum, guys. I hate to be the guy, but I am happy, right? I'm at least happy that we're at the levels that we looked at. We don't call these for no reason. Let's see. Shout out to G6, said you guys should start the stream earlier. You start UK time 10:45 p.m. Oh, God, shout out to G6. Yeah, I guess anytime we pick, we're probably going to be starting like at 1 in the morning somewhere. Shout out to G6, brother. I appreciate you, though. That's dedication if you are up at 10:45 watching this YouTube live stream, trying to figure out where Bitcoin's going to go. That's dedication, baby. I see a bright future ahead for you. Let's see. Sold below 110. What the heck? Shout out to Alex. Well, let's take a look at Solana here because, again, guys, Solana just working with our key levels. Hang on one sec. Take a sip of that black coffee. Yeah, we had daylight savings. Shout out to Crypto Anon. Thank God we have daylight savings. I am not a fan of it getting dark early. Yeah, it's brutal. I hate it. I wish I could go. So, is there anywhere? Does anybody know? Let me know in the chat. Does anybody know if there's anywhere I could go where there's no daylight savings whatsoever? It just gets dark late all year. I don't think that's the case. But if anyone knows where I can go, let me know because I will move in a heartbeat if it means not getting dark early. Like, let's not ever do that. Why does anybody, why would not anyone, I would think a majority of the population who have normal jobs would want more daylight after work, right? I would think. But then you have people, I guess, don't want to bring their kids to school in the dark. Norway, Arizona. Wait, is that true? Is that true? Wow. Oh, is there really that many? Okay, guys, I'm moving. I'm going to Arizona. I'd like to keep it in the U.S., to be honest. Moving out of the country would be kind of a nightmare for me. I got family here. It's so stupid. Yeah, shout out to Crypto Anon. Every country in Europe has DST. Okay, yeah, I gotta shout out to Tony D, bro. We're going to Arizona. If that is true in Arizona, we're going out to Arizona. Let's do it. Let's see. Oh God, shout out to Andreas says I live in Colombia. It gets dark at 6:30 p.m. all year. That is brutal. Puerto Rico, my friend, and no cap. Wait, is that true? In Puerto Rico gets. We're going to Puerto Rico. That's even better. You get the tax benefits too. Shout out to Crypto Pollo, fellow farm animal. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. Drop those chickens in the chat, baby. But yeah, that actually sounds great. No capital gains. No, it gets dark late every day. You go just after the stream, just go out, lay on the beach, catch some sunlight. That'd be nice. I even let you stay at my place over there. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. Bro, you got a place over in Puerto Rico, dude? Shout out to you, man. That would be dope. I've actually thought about that for the capital gains reasons, but yeah, I don't know. Moving out of the country is like, I got family here and stuff. Like, listen, guys, I like money as much as the next guy, but I love my family too. I'm not like I don't worship money like that, but it would be nice. You only have to be there 6 months out of the year, I believe, so I could probably do that. Right? Just like go visit family for 6 months. But anyway, let's continue on. Yo, shout out to LockSync says catch some bullets, but at least you get low capital gains tax. But yeah, anyway, let's take a look here. So Solana, guys, we looked at this on Friday. Obviously, so obviously we have been looking at this, and the reason I want to talk about this, guys, is because we were in a situation on Solana over last week where obviously we were bing-bonging around at this POC, and you guys will know that, let me actually hide these levels real quick because we'll get to those in a minute. You guys will know, right? Like, we got accepted back into our value area high. At this point, guys, the highest probability outcome is to get a move to our POC and then eventually get a full fill of the range down to the value area low. That is what you would expect based off your volume profiles. But we talked about, oh my God, I really did inhale something. We did talk about how when you play with this POC, guys, there is a possibility of holding this as support and getting the push up first. But when you're looking at the volume profiles, the higher probability outcome is always going to be, especially when you front run the value area low. You can see here, we went from the low to the POC to the high. On the way back down, you expect to reject the high, go to the POC, and then go to the low. When you front run the low like this, for me personally, this isn't enough. Right? When we front run that value area low, I expect eventually to come down and tap that low, meaning that you're probably not going to get the big break out of the range until you tap that value area low, right? So, and what happened here? Sure, excuse me, we played around with that POC. We lost it, flipped it to resistance, and what happens? We get the move down to the value area low. So could you have taken some longs at the POC to try to catch a move up? Maybe, but for me personally, this is why I always wait for the value area low, and we also have this tap daily here. I would be much more likely to take a long down here than I would up here, right? This is why I like to wait for the bottom of the range. I like to wait for that value area low for the sound long positions because the POC is just a low probability area and much more likely to get that full fill of the range, and we've seen that play out. And I like to point that out because when you're looking at the volume profiles, when you see these bounces, you're like, oh my God, are we going to front run that value area low? It's possible, but still much more likely to get that rotation of the low. And this will just give you a little bit more confidence to trust the volume profiles as we look at on the live stream all the time. More often than not, we're like, well, look at that, guys. We were suspicious of that low, and here we are breaking that low. So with that being said, you didn't really get too much of a bounce from the value area low. You lose it, and we get the bigger drop to the downside. And actually, hilariously enough, let me bring up the other key levels that I deleted here. I talked about how we would cross that bridge of lower prices when we get there. And here we are, right? So, taking a look at this, right? As far as lower levels of support, first I'll talk about the retracement. You are deviating below your volume profile. In my opinion, this is not like the best time to just like FOMO short. Could you continue down? Yes. Obviously, anything is on the table. But in my own personal opinion, if you were to get a retracement, I would be very, your key levels of resistance are very clear here, right? Value area low, you have this tap daily. I'll leave this on the chart as a tapped daily. Right, it's important to know that it's tapped. If you pull your fib here locally from this high all the way to the low here, bada boom, right? So you have, get rid of the blue box because this is no longer support. Bada boom, delete this. I'll actually just change this to red now, or purple for resistance. Right, so I would personally be paying attention to these key levels above, right? If you get a bigger retracement up here, let's say you get some kind of a bounce here. Again, I wouldn't be looking to trade Solana right now. Again, I'm focused more on Bitcoin right now. Until we see like more development on Bitcoin dominance or total 3, I'm more interested in trading Bitcoin. However, if we get the retracement to the upside, you want to be careful around this golden pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement. And I'll actually just draw a new purple box here, right? 786 golden pocket value area low, right? That would be your big key level of resistance, because if you're going to get the retracement for another lower high to continue the downtrend, this could be the high probability area to do that, to break structure to the downside once again, just like here, right? Lower high, break a structure to the downside, lower high, break a structure to the downside. This is what I would anticipate if you could get some bearish confirmations within that golden pocket 786 value area low. Again, this is the doorway to higher prices, but it is going to be resistance until proven otherwise. If you can't flip this 786, I would be looking at this as resistance. If you could flip that value area low and get above that 786, flip it to support, that's where you could look for the bigger move up towards, closer towards your POC, golden pocket 786 retracement, right? But I would definitely be careful. If we're going to continue an aggressive downtrend, this is the first major zone to look at, right? Get above that 786. This will be the second zone to look at. Numerically, those levels are going to be sitting right here, 128.23, 124.84. That's your first zone, right? Get above that. fill the volume profile up to the golden pocket 786 POC confluence. This is a big zone, but it does, I'll just give you the whole zone here. Again, golden pocket POC 786 sitting between about 138.38 and 145.17. But again, you're not looking up here until you get really above that 786. And in my opinion, if you get the retracement up, this is definitely going to be the bigger level of resistance to look at first, right? And flip that. And even in the grander scheme of things, if you do get above this 786 and push into towards the value area POC, like still big levels of resistance, right? Because if you look at the higher time frames, 2-day money flow is still in the red, right? You have the Ethereum money flow crossing over into the red, Bitcoin 2-day money flow crossing over into the red, making you anticipate lower highs and lower lows. 3-day money flow and fresh red dot printing here, money flow trending to the downside on the 3-day. So if we don't see this money flow come back up in a big way, we are going to be anticipating lower highs and lower lows. And these are the big zones to be looking for those to come in, right? If you get the retracement from where we're at now. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll come on the live stream tomorrow and, we'll get the rejection here, or maybe we won't even come up there and we'll keep dumping. We don't know what's going to happen, but the if this, then that is, for me personally, for short, I would at least be waiting to come up here. If not, I'd be waiting to come up into these bigger levels. But based off high time frame money flow, definitely looking like we can get that continuation up. But retracements are somewhat likely, right? It's always a very, very confusing thing for new people. They might say, like, money flow's coming out, but how come we got a huge, we just pumped 23%, like that money flow was wrong. No, right? The money flow crossing into the red, you could easily get retracements up, but in the grand scheme of the overall move, they're going to be lackluster for lower highs and continuations up, right? Like even from here to here, that was a 45% pump. And we talk about this all the time. People see a 45% pump on something like this, and they're like, this is bullish. It's only bullish if it's in cooperation with the market structure, right? This is not necessarily bullish, right? This is more bearish, right? You get that big pump. Not all pumps are created equal, right? 45% up is not just bullish because we're going up. It's bullish because you're going up. That is technically bullish, right? But in the grand scheme of things, you have to be careful of where your fib retracements are, right? Are you coming into a golden pocket? Well, me personally, sure, 45% is nice to see, but that is not bullish. You'll see a lot of people saying, oh my God, Solana up 45%, huge breakout incoming. Like, not necessarily. Money flow coming out, and where you looking for the lower high to come in at, the golden pocket 786 retracement. This is why you want to learn how to read the chart so you don't have to rely on someone else's thoughts on where the market's going to go, right? You could say, well, hey, that's a 45% rip to the upside, but we just hit a golden pocket retracement where there's a high probability of a lower high coming in. We have high time frame money flow coming out. This could be more bearish than anything, looking for a breakdown and a break of structure to the downside, which is what we saw happen, right? So again, if you do see a pump to the upside, just understand the context, right? Like it could feel really bullish pulling up here, right? Even if you pull up here, right? But, that would give you from wick to wick, right? That'd be a 24% or maybe even a 40% pump. But just understand the grand scheme of the trend could be lower highs and lower lows. So that's bullish for the time being. But at the end of the day, context is always going to be king, right? It's very important, especially if you want to be a trader. Like, should you be looking for, a lot of people are going to gig along this because they just heard Solana pump 45%. Meanwhile, they should be going giga short, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Let's continue on here. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. Okay, so that's Solana, right? Just down at our key levels. If we continue to break down here, guys, I will be honest. Let me pull this volume profile. This is a little bit of an older profile here, but I will pull it. Bada boom. See where these levels come in at. Probably going to get respected if they're not already. Mark this out. Just zoom in here a bit. Got your value area low, your POC, and your value area high. This is coming out over from 2022, where we kind of got the little retests before the bigger drop into the bear market and before Solana went to zero. But yeah, if we do break down, very similar to Ethereum, right? We have that old volume profile from 2022, which did get respected here. We went to the high, back to the low, back to the high, back to the low. Then we got the breakout, right? So this will likely get respected on the way back down. Whether we come down from where we are now or we reject one of these fibs, right, this is going to be the next big area to look at for Solana. Value area high sitting at about 107.56. POC sitting at 101.23. Lose the POC at 101.23. We're looking down towards the value area low at 80.94. This is 100% that next area of value. Not only being built out here, but also respected on the way back up, right? When Solana comes back up, we probably were looking at this if I had to guess, right? We would say, hey, this value area low is the doorway to higher prices. If we could flip this to support, we could get the full fill of the range into 108, right? And if you zoom into a lower time frame here, and you just go take a look at what price action was doing back there, Probably not going to get it on the on that low of a time frame, but there you go, right? It's going to be resistance, but once you flip it to support, right? You get in, flip it to support, up to the POC, flip the POC, up to the value area high. And then you go above the high, back to the POC, try to get out again, back below to the POC, to the value area low, back to the high, and then, back to the low, back to the high. Front run the value area high, but what happens? You hit that value area low, back to the high, and then you eventually get the breakout. But just to show you guys that those levels are not, these are not random levels, right? These are volume-derived levels. These are not just random lines I'm drawing on the chart. These are respected, and that's why I love the volume profile, because it's all based off volume, right? So like, even if you pull your volume profile wrong, one of the biggest questions I get is, where do you pull your volume profiles? At the end of the day, obviously, we have a ton of tutorials showing you guys exactly how to use the volume profile and where to pull them from. But even if you pull them randomly, right, it's just taking the calculation of the volume traded over the area that you select. So regardless of where you pull it from, those levels are still volume driven, right? So you're still probably going to get respect on whatever volume profile levels you're looking at. But me personally, I obviously like to look at them in the forms of finding value areas or areas of balance in the market. So there we go, right? Continue up. That's what I'm looking for. And if we get the rip down, this is what I'm looking for. And again, I'm not going to really show like areas I'd be looking for longs on Solana, because at the end of the day, if Bitcoin dumps, we're obviously going to be expecting a nightmare for the altcoin. So I don't want anybody just like knife catching the longs. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for the super chats. I missed 2 super chats, not including this one. Shout out to Tony D. Let me check in on that, and then we'll take a look at XRP real quick. Let's see. Shout out to Rick. Thank you for the super chat. Said, currently have a 5x long. I am in the negative from 2007 for Ethereum. I added to my margin, and my liquidation mark is 1541. Would you cut and run or ride it out? Shout out to Rick. I like the way you asked that question, because all I could do is tell you what I would do. And funny enough, I was in a similar situation. The long from $2,000, obviously I did take a long on Ethereum, and I'll just tell you what I did do. I cut my losses, right? I stopped myself out of this trade, right? Because we knew we had the lower levels down below, and we knew once we lost that value area low, we were probably going to shoot down to these levels. So I did cut my long. I actually cut my long on the start of this retracement, because it was no longer looking good to me, so I wanted to get out. I did take a small loss on that. So yeah, I cut my losses. I never want to, I don't want to say never. There's not like never a situation where I'll add margin. But in this case, I wanted to cut this free. I'll let ETH find another bottom, and I'll find another long setup. So me personally, I was in a similar long position from the value area low that we were waiting for in the premium Discord. We got 2 of them, or kind of the first time we hit the level, we got a big bounce. Second time we came, we swept the liquidity. We actually, funny enough, got a smaller bounce, but they did wind up, getting a bounce from our level. But I just stopped myself out at a small loss here. So, and that wound up being a good idea, right? Because we wound up getting rejected out of the range and coming down to those next key levels of support. If your liquidation is down, yeah, I would say, also to understand this, guys, there is a macro 786 sitting below this value area low on Ethereum, right? And I'll just mark this out, right? Like for me personally, a huge level for Ethereum, if this does continue down, would now be sitting very similar to how $2,000 was a big level. Value area low 786 sitting between about 1650 and about 1570 is going to be another big level of support. You have your macro 786 value area low confluence, and potentially some other levels as well. I don't have them marked down on the chart here. But yeah, if we do see a full fill of that range, I would probably be interested in potentially looking for longs once again on Ethereum if we do come down here, right, into the 786, deviate below the profile, look for a long back up to that high, and then maybe that's the bottom for massive all-time highs. But again, very hard to predict that. But for me personally, I cut my long here for a loss. I don't like to, you don't want to get stuck in a bad position, and sometimes it takes getting stuck in a few bad positions before you finally are like, I'm going to cut it. Maybe it continues up without me. At the end of the day, you have to be okay with cutting a loss where your trade was invalidated. And if price goes up without you, that's okay. Because if your trade's invalidated, you want to get out of the dang position anyway. You want to build that good habit. Even if price goes up without you, you can't freak out. Because, I always say this, right? If you freak out over missed gains, what are you telling me? You're telling me that you're focused solely on the money. Right? And this is coming from, this is really speaking to people who are wanting to learn how to trade. When you first learn how to trade, as I always say, you do not want to chase the money. You are not going to get rich quick trading, right? Day trading or leverage trading, right? You could get rich trading, longing, shorting. Absolutely. I highly recommend it. It's like the highest income skill I think you could potentially get, right? It's the highest income skill you could possibly build, but it is a skill that needs to be built. And when you first learn, you are inevitably going to have to learn from your mistakes and pay the market some money while you learn from your mistakes, right? So I always tell people, do not chase the money when you learn how to trade. Chase the skill of TA, understanding how to come up with a trading plan, cutting your losses when your trading plan is invalidated. And then, a lot of people will be like, man, I cut my long or I cut my short before it went in my direction. You can't chase that, right? Because again, it just your mindset's in the wrong place. You're chasing money. You do not want to chase money when it comes to trading, because that's how they chop you up, and that's why most people lose money. You want to focus on the TA, focus on good risk management and good habits, and the money will come in time. You're not going to be, I've been saying this a lot lately because I heard somebody say it, and I love it. You can't expect to make more than a brain surgeon by clicking buttons on a computer without putting in some kind of work or some kind of investment, right? Doctors have to go to school for 8 years or whatever it is. They have to pay off those debts. They have to go to school for a long time. They have to stress out and struggle in school trying to pass the tests, right? You can't just watch one video and just become an infinitely profitable trader. It's possible 100%, but it is not a get rich quick scheme. So that's why I tell people, if your trade's invalidated, cut it. If price goes in the direction you thought it was going to go, that's okay. If you feel emotional about that, you probably will. It's okay to feel that emotion. You just cannot act on it, right? It's not about removing emotions from your trading. It's about controlling the emotions when they come. I still feel FOMO. I still feel fear. I just don't act on it, right? If Ethereum, if I cut my long here, right, on this little retracement and it just went, right, I probably would have made, right, if we got the full rotation of this profile on that trade, I would be up like 98 grand, right? Am I going to cry about and FOMO into a long position because of it? No. Is it going to hurt? Absolutely. Man, I sold the bottom here, and now it's just doing what I thought it was going to do. That hurts me, right? But I do not chase the trade because I don't chase money, right? What I would do is wait for another setup, right? I would wait for a structure change. I would wait for a higher low into a Fibonacci retracement for actual entry confirmations, and I would just re-enter another trade, right? With a plan and an invalidation. I would not just chase it. So at the end of the day, I'll tell you what I did. I cut my loss, right? And it wound up being the right decision. So yeah. Take that for what it's worth. I can't tell you to hold it or I know a lot of people, I don't think this is what Rick's looking for, but I know a lot of people just want to hear it'll bounce here, hold it, you're good. I can't tell you that, right? I'm not a financial advisor, and I also, I don't like longing in the middle of a POC. So me personally, I wouldn't even be trying to take a long here personally. Not that you can't bounce here, but for me personally, I cut my loss up here. So hopefully you can learn from that and how I handle it. And I wasn't panicking on this drop to the downside. I don't even, especially if you're learning, I don't recommend adding to your margin unless you are super confident in what you're looking at, right? For example, on Bitcoin, maybe, or, even on, let's look at Ethereum for now, right? Unless you're looking to hey, I have one time I will enter in, I will kind of compound my trades is if it's on a golden pocket retracement, right? Or a fib retracement in general, right? So if I pull my fib, let's just say I'll pull this up on a blank chart. So I'll give you an example, right? Because it's not never. So if I pull a fib here, right? And I'm looking for a long, say price is coming up, right? I'm looking for a higher low and a continuation up, right? Let's just say right, we're looking for a higher low and a continuation up. Sometimes what I'll do, the rare times that I do use limit orders, right? I will set one limit order, right, to enter me in at the golden pocket, right? And then I'll set a second limit order at the 786. And this is really the only time I will add to a long, right? Or a short, right? It would come to the golden pocket. I'll take a shot. I could either take this as a trade, stop myself out at a small loss, and then look to re-enter on the golden pocket. But at the end of the day, if I'm looking for a higher low to form between these two levels, again, two ways you can handle it, right? You could either, what I do most of the time, which is handle it as two separate trades. I'll take the long here, stop myself out of a small loss. If I get another entry confirmation on the 786, I'll treat it as a separate trade. But another way you could kind of set it up is, enter 50% of your position here, right? Not your whole position size, put 50% in here, and then wait for the drop into the 786, and then fill your whole position at the 786. Then you're sitting in a situation where if it plays out from the golden pocket, right, you're in. It's not as big of a position size. You're not in a full position, but you're in, and you're capitalizing on the move. But if it doesn't hold and you come back down, right, you're kind of, it's kind of like risk. You're managing the risk, right? And then at that point you have your full position, small stop loss below the 786. If that stops out, it's a small loss, right? So that's really the only time. And again, the reason I feel safer doing this is because I'm adding in at a key level where I'm still anticipating a potential higher low. I just don't know if it's coming in here or here. So I would put 50%, 50%. Stop me out as we lose the level, right? I would never just add to a position, and Rick, I don't know if you're doing this. I would never just add to a position to try to save the position. So yeah, hopefully that helps you out. I cut my long short. No pun intended. But yeah, shout out to you, bro. Thank you for the super chat. Hopefully that helps you out in some way. Nordic, thank you for the super chat. Said, what's your plan for spot alts? Sell for a loss or wait? Shout out to Nordic. I'm holding my bags, right? Like any alts that I'm down on at this point, right? Like I'm pretty down bad on some alts at this point, right? Most of the alts that I hold, I believe in the future of the projects, right? Inevitably, in investing, you're going to pick losers, and you're going to have to pay the price for that. That's the risk of investing. But for me personally, most of the projects that I hold, other than like most of the altcoins that I hold, other than COQ, hilariously enough, guys, I actually checked my portfolio the other day. Low key, I'm not even joking, guys. COQ is one of the only alts that I have that's still in profit. Like I said, I caught this super early. Maybe it's not in profit anymore. I don't remember exactly where it was sitting, but my COQ was still slightly in profit when I looked at it, which I just thought was hilarious. Must have taken some Blue Chew or something. But anyway, yeah, so for me personally, I'm not selling my Ethereum right now, right? Like for hopefully like that kind of like, I'm not going to sell my Ethereum if it's like, especially if you're buying it up here, like there is no point in me selling Ethereum. Not that I bought up here, but if I was in a situation where my Ethereum was down bad, right, like this, which is I assume probably why you're asking this question is because you're probably down bad on some alts. For something like Ethereum, right, like I'm not going to sell down here, right? Like for something on Ethereum, something like Ethereum, like I'm willing to hold this long term, right? Like I have a lot of dry powder on the side. If it nukes down to like $800, at that point, it's very similar to Bitcoin. It's like I'm not going to sell at a massive loss on Ethereum because I believe in this. I don't think Ethereum's going anywhere. I think it's going to go up, the ETFs, etc. Right? I don't have to talk about all that. So I would rather just kind of load up my bags on the dips and just hold for that long-term bag, right? Like my Ethereum bags, my Bitcoin bags, at the end of the day, I'm okay holding these for 10 years, right? Not that that's ideal, right? I'd like to sell the top of the bull markets, but at this point, like I can't sell, right? Like I assume a lot of people's alts, right? Like even a lot of people I talk to, right? I mean, XRP low-key holding up great here, right? Like XRP, this chart still, right? Like this pullback on XRP, right? From the wick to wick here, 48% is nothing compared to the 500, almost 600% rip that it got. So this is actually still holding up pretty good. But like, if your altcoins are looking like real bad, if you were buying up here and now you're down here and you're down, a ton on your altcoin, me personally on projects I believe in, I can't sell those big red candles, right? Now, if it was something, and I'm usually a lot more vigilant on coins that I might think are more risky, right? Like a meme coin or something. Most of my meme coins are gambles, right? So if they go to zero, I'm expecting that anyway. But unless you have like a reasonable stop loss, right? Where you're getting stopped out, for a small loss, and then you're looking to buy back much lower, that's different. But if you're already in a position where you checked your alt bags and you're like down 75% on a lot of your alts and you believe in the projects, in my opinion, I would never sell them at a 75% loss if I believe in the project. I would just buy more. It's a garbage situation, right? Like, because you could wish that you would have wished that you sold higher, but you didn't, right? And that's just the fact of the matter. So for me personally, that's how I handle that stuff. So yeah, but I'm hurt. I'm feeling the pain, guys. My alts are down. Trust me. I've just been on this roller coaster for so long. I'm just like, oh, my alts are down. Like my peak. I mean, we could even look at this. I'm crushed on peak at this point. My average entry was, I bought on this pre-sale dump, right? And in the context of like a massive bull market starting, that could have been a beautiful entry. But again, anything can happen in these markets. So my average entry was, I think, like 20 something, maybe like 25. I am now down here 57% on my peak. Right now, if I cut my losses, if I had anticipated a much bigger drop down and I cut my losses for like 20%, that would have been great. But I didn't, right? I'm just holding this down 67%. I'm not going to take that loss personally. But, again, you have to trade your own plan, right? Like me personally, I've done it in the past, guys, where I've just sold the bottom, right? And then the thing just rips. And I'm like, in hindsight, you're like, why the heck did I sell after this whole move down? How much farther could it have dipped? The answer to the question is it can dip more, right? So, I understand that my risk tolerance and my threshold for what feels scary is probably a lot different than a lot of other people. But the only kind of thing I can say is I don't sell something if it's down 70%. I would, especially if I believe in it, I would just rather buy the dip and just hold it long term, or just hold it, right, and just see what happens, and then maybe buy back in later. But yeah, there we go. Shout out to Creighton C. Thank you for the super chat. I'm going to try to run through these really, really quickly. Tony D says Arizona is a 4-hour drive from San Diego, and it's awesome. If you think I wouldn't drop everything and do it in a heartbeat, you're crazy. Shout out to Tony D. Hey, that might be a nice thing to do there. Shout out to Creighton C. said, what's in Atlanta exactly? Go to Arizona. Tex-Mex is even better than Taco Bell. That I would have to taste to believe. Shout out to Creighton C. No, I believe you, though. Taco Bell is basically cat food. Really delicious cat food, though. Aren't you sick of barbecue and Popeyes? You can't drive to Vegas, too. Oh, you could drive to Vegas, too. Yeah, man. All right, Tony D, let's start looking at places in Arizona. Let's go. And Creighton says, if you want to trade while you wait for larger setups, you can always scout very low time frames. Never get trapped. Take an L, make another take another trade. Yeah, shout out to Creighton C 100%, right? And that's what I mean. Like, I'm okay, right? I am not a slave to a bull market to make money. Right? Like we take the scalp trades, right? We're actively making money on the ups and downs in the market while everything kind of tries to figure itself out, right? And then we could roll those profits potentially into buying the dip on the alts as they start to bottom out. But yeah, hopefully that helps you guys out. Let's see, Tucson, Arizona here. Hey, shout out to Brasi. Shout out to you, bro. Hey, maybe when we get out there, we'll hit you up, bro. We'll have to make some friends in Arizona. Shout out to Shubam says, Frankie, I think ETH is dead. I mean, listen, again, anything is possible. I highly doubt it. A lot of people thought ETH was dead here. I think it's very low probability. I'll never say nothing is 0% chance. But I don't blame people for thinking ETH is dead after this, especially after not making a new all-time high. If we go into a full-on bear market and ETH didn't make an all-time high, I said this to Tony earlier today. It's like, you got me, right? Like, I would have never guessed Ethereum would not make a new all-time high in a bull market. You got me. Fair and square. Fine. You got me. I got scammed. But me personally, right, like, you have the ETFs. Like, this is, in my opinion, it's very, very, very low probability. But again, you have to make your own decisions. If you think it is dead, you could be right too. So make decisions based off what you think. But I think it's very low probability. Doesn't mean that ETH can't go lower. But I think it being completely dead is very, very low probability. Let's see. Yeah, Nick says all alts are dead. I've lost everything over 4 years. Shout out to Nick. Yeah, I mean, most alts are dead right now, or slowly dying. Okay, so let's continue on here. Shout out to Kevin, says, do you still believe in render? We could try to take a look at render here. Bada boom, bada bing. Where we at? Yeah, I mean, I don't see unless they got, like, did they get some, like, crazy horrible news or something? But yeah, I don't see a reason why, excuse me, everybody, right? Like, I mean, people are saying Bitcoin's dead, right? But I don't see, unless something crazy happened that I don't know about on render. Yeah, I mean, it's dumping, right? Like, it's, but again, even if this goes into a full bear market, as long as there's nothing fundamentally broken with the project, I would still be willing to buy that on a dip. But yeah, let me jump into XRP because we kind of teased that a little bit. Let's take a look here. Let me pull up my actual XRP chart. That's Solana, XRP, bada boom, right? So here we are. Let's go ahead and get rid of those brushes. Bada boom, bada bing. Get rid of this old fib. Yo, shout out to the Fibinator. Thank you for the super chat. Said, you want to know what's dead? Terra Luna. Yeah, Terra Luna. Yikes. Shout out to the Fibinator. Yeah. Things do die. Things 100% die in this market. But, yeah, I would just say ETH is probably super low probability. But, hey, I'm open to it. I'm totally, again, I'll never just shut down anything, right? No one would have. If you were to ask me, would FTX ever go under, I would probably put a super low probability on that, too. And this is why you have to keep an open mind in crypto, right? Let's see. Do you still think ETH will bounce? If yes, then what will be the level you're waiting to react? Shout out to Shubam. We actually took a look at ETH. If you scrub back to the ETA, you'll see it's a local value area low that we're looking at with a 786 just underneath it. That would be the next major support level that I would be watching. Yeah. Crypto Pollo said, alter like pink sheet stocks, make your money, get out, and then buy Bitcoin or get wrecked. Yeah, and I would honestly put that, outside of the top 10, top 15, maybe. I would say that, definitely, that's kind of the whole goal, right? Like, make your money with the altcoins, roll them back into Bitcoin. Obviously, not at the top of the bull market. You want to wait for the bear market, right? But yeah, 100%. You got to be careful with altcoins. Like I said, like even the beginning of the stream, like to a certain degree, like even the ones with good tech or good white papers or whatever, like a lot of these people are selling. They're trying to get investments, right? Like, so they're selling all these promises that 99% of crypto projects never even meet, right? And they just never come back. The teams abandon the project. That doesn't just happen in meme coins, right? Like, it happens in our. I saw an interview recently of someone talking about how altcoins are essentially meme coins, right? Because like you're just building a community around something, but instead of like just building something around a meme, which in a weird way is more authentic than trying to say you have a bunch of this beautiful tech that you're going to build and not build it. At least they're building it around memes, which are just like, hey, if you buy this, you're just buying into the idea of farts. That is what it is, right? We're not pretending to be something we're not. We don't have crazy tech. We're not making any promises. But if you like farts, buy this, right? Which obviously makes it gambling. But when it comes to regular altcoins, right, like they're kind of doing the same thing. They're just like building a community. They just have these like white papers of things that they're planning on doing, which again, most of them never wind up doing. So you do have to be careful. Like really the only altcoins that I would be willing to hold for a super long amount of time would probably be Ethereum, Solana maybe. Like even XRP is something I hold long term. I mean, at this point on XRP, I've held XRP forever, right? Until we finally got this breakout. But yeah, let's take a look here at XRP real quick. I'll jump into the charts. I know we've been getting sidetracked, guys, but I know there's a lot of fear out there. I know everyone's getting like, frustrated and scared of these big drops. But hopefully the TA is helping you guys kind of understand why we're seeing the drops, and not only that, but anticipating the drops before they happen by watching these live streams. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. You don't want to miss these live streams. But let's take a look here, right? So again, we're just like within our volume profile. This is what we have been looking at, right? From the low, deviate the low, go to the high, deviate the high, right? Bada boom, deviate above the high, get back into the range, reject the low, reject the high, come back to the POC, lose the POC, go to the low, and now we're deviating below the low. So, this is, we have the value area low 786. This obviously did not hold. 786 obviously did not hold. We got a little bit of a bounce, but it didn't really last. Now we're just kind of hanging out below this volume profile. Now, I will say this, right? Let's pull up the visible range volume profile, or the VPVR, as some people like to call it. Hey, Tony, Tony, can you start a Sailor liquidation at 66K? That could wreck everything. Yikes. Yeah, like imagine his liquidations get triggered. Talk about a lickwick. But yeah, Tony, can we do a Q&A? Because once we wrap up on the altcoins, I'll try to answer a couple of questions. I think we're probably going over time here. Oh no, we're pretty on time. Not too shabby. I don't hate it. But yeah, drop a Q&A. If anyone has any questions, I'll try to. I'm not gonna be able to answer all of them, but I'll try to answer as many as I can. But yeah, let's take a look at this. Right, so VPVR, guys. I'm gonna take a look at this on a higher time frame. Let's incorporate all these candles that we have back. Oh man, it's kind of hard. But I will be honest. Let's take a look at this. I want to get this to populate on. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, even if we just look at this, right? Let's take a look at it on the daily. Come on. Excuse me. There we go, right? So we essentially, high volume node, price likes to stick to the high volume nodes, right? This is pretty much why we have the high volume node there, is because we bing bong around here. We develop a lot of volume, and price likes to stick to these high volume nodes like a magnet. This is why oftentimes, right, we have a high volume node in the middle of every volume profile. This is why we have such good hit rate, looking for longs at the lows, expecting that POC to act as a magnet, that high volume node to act as a magnet for price. That's why below the value area and above the value area, the moves to the the POC from the low or the high is very high probability. And so is the full fill of the volume profile. But that's part of the reason why we have such high probabilities, right? You deviate above the high, right? But there's not a lot of volume up here. All the volume's right here. So you're probably going to get sucked back down to that POC, right? So with that kind of thought process in mind, if you're new here, that's how the volume kind of works. But, if we don't reclaim this and start getting sucked back up into this POC, if we wind up losing this volume profile, guys, pretty big volume gap leading us all the way down to this bigger level of support sitting between about $1.50 down to about $1.33, where we have this full golden pocket retracement, right? So for sure, if we do not, just like Bitcoin, if we don't get accepted back into this range to kind of just continue to rotate the volume profile, right? If we lose this range low, pretty big volume gap here. When you have big volume gaps like this, guys, fast moves up equal fast moves down. Does this sound familiar? Same thing we were saying here. Fast moves up, fast moves down, right? Very similar situation here on XRP. So we really, just kind of like we didn't want to lose the range lows on Bitcoin when we were up in that larger volume profile. You guys will know, right? These range lows were very important. Once we lost this, we expected a big liquidation event, right? Which is exactly what we got to fill that quick move up, giving us that quick move down. So, on XRP, it's very similar, right? We can't get back into this range. Could fall through that low volume gap. There's not that much holding us up here. And price is going to get what? Gravitated to the next significant high volume node, which based off this profile is sitting in confluence with that golden pocket, right? Lots of magnetism, no magnetism. Fast drop down, magnetism towards this level, right? So that's your next key level. If XRP breaks down here, XRP, one of the only altcoins that I'm still up massively on, which luckily it's one of my bigger bags. But, could be a fast drop down here. Golden pocket to the value area high, $1.51 to about $1.33. That's what I'd be looking at. Now, you do have a little high volume node right here, right? $1.89. That could be an honorable mention. But at the end of the day, guys, significant higher time frame levels are living down here. Now, if we look at our money flow, right? Higher time frame money flow. 2-day money flow has been holding up good on XRP, but it is starting to trend out here, right? Daily money flow obviously still in the red. So again, not necessarily like super bearish at the push down here, but again, if we get bearish retests here and we can't get above, I would expect a bigger drop down on XRP, right? Watch that 2-day money flow. This might just be lagging behind Ethereum and Bitcoin. So I would just be careful. Definitely have the gap underneath us. You heard it here first. If you see if we're up here on the live one day, right, in the near future, oh my God, XRP died, right? XRP died. We're going to talk about how we pictured and saw this big low volume gap. Fast move ups, fast moves up, fast moves down, right? You could even see, start to slip here. It's like, whoa, wow. Really start rejecting out of here. Could get that quick move down. Massive key. I could, again, honorable mention, 189, high volume, slightly tick up in volume here. But really that next major area, again, confluent with the golden pocket. Not impossible to see something like that. So that's what I'd be looking at on XRP. Okay, cool. We got a... Okay, cool. I see a bunch of questions coming in here as we simmer down. Just buy gold and be happy. Shout out to My Passive Freedom. That's a funny chat to send with My Passive Freedom as your name. Yeah. Just buy gold and hold it. I'll be honest, I don't own any gold, really. I mean, other than I don't own like any bars of gold, really. It is something I would like to get into, though. I would like to buy some gold. I have no exposure to gold whatsoever. I bought paper gold. I've traded gold. Not a lot, but yeah, I've never actually bought gold, unless it was like jewelry or something. I would probably be more inclined. I know you're paying a crazy premium on jewelry, but like I would get like a chain or something, and I would like to wear my gold because it takes a long time for it to appreciate in value. Obviously, it's absolutely exploded recently. I mean, we could take a look at gold too. Actually, let me see here. Right, so yeah, it's obviously getting it's gotten massive moves up recently. So shout out to my mom. My mom was saying she dropped off some gold and sold it, and I was like, hey, you could be selling the top right now, ma. But yeah, typically it does take a longer time for gold to appreciate. So I'd rather wear my gold and enjoy it. Shout out to Batu said, Frankie Candles, what are your thoughts on Benjamin Cowan's ETH analysis based on its regression band and how it dipped into it with the expectation of 1,500 or 1,200? Shout out to Batu. I haven't seen that. Maybe I'll look it up tonight. I'll take a look at it. Ben Cowan is someone I would 100% take their opinion seriously. Super smart dude. And he looks at a lot of stuff that I don't look at. So I would like to see what he's thinking on Ethereum. My initial thoughts are if he's looking at something, it's probably legit. But I don't know exactly what he talked about, so I can't really give an opinion on it. So maybe I'll check it out. Shout out to Ben Cowan. Yeah, man, he rocks. Very realistic. Yeah, shout out to Batu. Yeah, I would agree. He's great for macro info. Yeah. I don't oftentimes watch like any other crypto stuff on YouTube, partially because mostly because I don't even really want to have anyone else's thoughts kind of get into my head. But if I do watch anything, it's more stuff like that where like I'll watch like macro, even stuff that like not a lot of people know about. Like a lot of the people that if I see a crypto video pop up and they're talking about something I don't look at, they're usually like really small YouTubers, people that like I really like seem like they know what they're talking about, and I can tell they know what they're talking about. But yeah, Ben Cowan for sure knows what he's talking about. I would take what he says seriously for sure. Yeah, shout out to Era says I have Pac G. It's crypto backed gold. Yeah, shout out to Era. Yeah, that's something to look into potentially. But yeah, let's see. You also show your settings and colors in your tutorial setups, everything like yeah. Shout out to Morphus. Yeah, I show the. Yeah, if you watch the beginner series, you'll be able to get your chart to look pretty much exactly like mine, colors and everything. So yeah. But anyway, with all that being said, what money flow indicator is that? That is Market Cipher B. I think I have, yeah, there we go. If you guys want to check it out, I don't know if they're still doing 50% discount. If they're still doing a 50% discount on their site, go use that code and get whatever that 50% discount is. If you can't get that anymore, if it expired, you could use MC Frank 20 to save 20%. Go check it out if you want. Q&A, where is Golden? Shout out to Alex. Golden! We got to call up Golden and get him in here. Peter Schiff is never right, even with a broken clock. Munger first, Schiff next. Shout out to Eugene Sky. Even without a broken clock is crazy. But yeah, with all that being said, guys, let's go ahead. Like I said, I don't want to take a look at too many alts just because we'll take a look at some more alts tomorrow just because, again, like whatever we expect on Bitcoin, the alts are likely to follow. We took a look at Ethereum. We took a look at Solana. We took a look at XRP. We even took a quick look at gold. No TA, but we did take a quick look at it. But let me jump into the Q&A here real quick as we are running out of time here. I'm not going to be able to answer everything, but bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to One Hype said, hey, Frankie, do you believe in XRP and its project? I hold XRP. I'm holding it. I do plan on holding it over the long term. I do believe in XRP. Again, that doesn't mean I'm not one of those influencers who's going to tell you, if you don't hold XRP, you're an idiot. You don't understand the future, right? Because I've seen so many people do that, and I've seen the charts absolutely dump the bed. But I personally believe in it. I hold it long term. I've held it for long. I've held XRP since I've bought XRP for the first time in. I could pull up the Coinbase thing. I think it was like probably dang near the beginning of the chart. Not that I caught the bottom, but let me see here. Let me look at the No. Okay, scratch that. I was not buying Bitcoin in 2013. I've been buying Bitcoin. I've been buying XRP since 2016, 2017. Not 2016. I'll give you guys the actual show you where. Yeah, I don't remember. I'd have to pull up me and Tony D's like old chats and text messages to see where we were buying it. I don't even remember exactly where it was price-wise. But it was definitely 2016, 2017 was when it was one of the first cryptos that I ever bought on top of Litecoin and Ethereum. No, I think actually just Litecoin and Ripple. Or XRP. But yeah, I've been holding XRP for, I've been buying and holding XRP for a while. I've been recently holding XRP forever, waiting for this dang lawsuit to figure itself out. But yeah, simple answer, absolutely yes. Shout out to J. Cole, said 50-week moving average is at 75K and 50-week EMA is at 76K. I don't think we'll go below that. Real quick, let me actually pull up the bull market support band. Somebody asked for that, so I will pull that up. This is another thing to look at, guys, for a very simple kind of like health of the bull market situation. And yeah, I mean, hang on a second. What is going on with this? Yeah, at the time, right? Like, yeah, this is, this is the anchored VWAP, I was going to say. I was like, why is this moving average getting moved out of here? Let me just hide that moving average. So, yeah, the bull market support band, guys, I'll be honest, like this looked a lot better. Like when we had the bull market support band here, I would have much preferred a situation where we lost this range over here, pushed into the golden pocket, and even slipped the 786 when the bull market support band was up here. This would have been a much more sound place to look for like a gig along to all-time highs. So we are losing the bull market support band. We broke down below it. We barely retested it here, and now we're getting the rejection. This is obviously not a great sign. But I do also just want to point out that it's not an end-all, be-all thing. I know, and I'm not saying that you think this. J. Cole, I'm not saying you think this. Shout out to J. Cole. But there are times where, you lose the bull market support band, you reject it. You lose it, you reject it, right? You come back up, bearish retest, right? Like this looks pretty bad at the time, but it's not an end all be all indicator, right? At the end of the day, one day we're going to reject it, right? And we're never going to come back up to it, right? We're going to do something like this and eventually we're just going to go into a bear market. Is that going to happen right now? It's hard to say. It could be, right? You could look at this and be like, well, that was the retest before the full on bear market, right? To get that move down to 30K, right? If that's what you think is going to happen. But again, we've seen this lost, bearishly retested, lost again, bearishly retested, and then reclaimed and sent to the upside. So, yeah, kind of hard to just call that as like, oh my God, we rejected it. This is the bear market. And it only takes like a simple look back in history to be like, yeah, we've done this before and it hasn't marked the bear market. So yeah, the fact that we are rejecting it now, definitely not a good sign. Definitely not enough to just be like, that's it, bear market, but definitely not a good sign, right? Like you need to get back above that level. And again, like this is also confluent with our value area low, which is our actual technical level on the chart that we're looking to flip to support. When we came back up here, we were looking at this as like, hey, we got to get above that value area low in order to see a move up. And I wasn't looking at it at the time, but we did have the bull market support band flying up there as well. So, rejection, we were looking at the value area low as the key level to reject, but it was also the bull market support band. So, again, I would have just called the bear market because of this, because we've lost it and regained it. We do it often, right? Like, or not often, I don't want to say, but like, we lost it here, right? This actually looked pretty horrible, right? We lose it. Bearish retest, massive move down, right? That's very scary, but then you reclaim it. But again, at some point, right? Like even in, back here, we lost it for a good while before coming back up and then flipping it back to support to coming back up. So, at the end of the day, these are just moving averages, right? This isn't like a secret indicator that will tell you exactly when the bear market will start. But definitely bearish, right? Like if I pull something away from this, definitely bearish. We've retested it and now we're losing it. The question is, are we going to lose it and then regain it for all-time highs this cycle, or are we just going into a 4-year cycle bear market? Very hard to call. But again, that's why we trade level to level. Let's see. Shout out to Kevin, said, will you ever create an A to Z tutorial on how to install Lux Algo, how to trade like you, all in one place? Although I love your premium to learn faster, I'd love to see a full-on tutorial. I guess you mean, shout out to Kevin, I guess you mean something like a course. Yes, we do plan on making something like a full A to Z course. This is something that that I personally do not want to rush. I want to encompass everything that I have to offer and bring it into an absolute premium package. And that's why I don't really tease it. I don't really, talk about, if and when we're going to release it. At some point, we will have a full-on A to Z tutorial, or not A to Z tutorial, but A to Z course will definitely be available at some time. But I want to make sure it's absolutely perfect before we release it to the Mafia. Let's see. Are we going to have any promo for the premium Discord anytime soon? At Tony D, should we do a... should we do a bear market fear premium Discord discount? Maybe. Me and Tony will talk about that. Maybe we'll do some kind of a, maybe we'll do discount on the next time we hit a like goal. Maybe we'll do that as well. Maybe tomorrow if we hit 1,000 likes, we'll do a premium Discord discount. Bada boom, bada bing. Are you able to show the 2 and 3 day money flow on XRP? Yeah, we could do that for you. I'm not going to dig too much into it because I don't want to spend too much time here because we're running out of time. But the 2-day money flow is starting to come to the downside. It is holding up a little bit better than other things. 3-day money flow is kind of holding up as well, to be honest. But fresh red dot. Printing, yeah, it's kind of flat, to be honest. 2 days coming out slightly. You're at that bull market support band here as well. So I would say rejecting this would call for the bigger drop down, which would bring us likely to the key levels we just talked about on XRP. I won't pull them up, but just scrub back to the XRP analysis. You'll know that next key level at that golden pocket. Let's see. I'm going to try to answer the ones that I can answer very quickly here, guys. Shout out to Butterfly Unicorn, said, hi, Frankie, just wondering, how do you prepare for a potential turn of the market against your current base strategy, especially since your following is growing? Shout out to Butterfly Unicorn. I'm not 100% sure exactly what you mean by that. Potential turn of the market against your current base strategy. I guess you assume, like, if the bear market comes in, right? If we don't wind up holding macro support and coming back to all-time highs. Shout out to Butterfly Unicorn. I'm not 100% sure exactly what you mean by that. You mean like as far as like content goes? We'll still be going here live every day at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not here just for the bull markets. We'll be here throughout the whole bear market like we were in the last one. But as far as trading, right? Like I would just be flipping, once I feel that the market has topped, right? For the most part, I would be looking to, potentially scale out of my BTC positions on retracements to the upside, very similar to 2021, just to kind of give you an idea how that looks, right? Like, again, I personally wasn't panic selling my Bitcoin down here. But, for example, right, if we start to see something where we get a big drop down, right, we get retracements, and on those retracements, we are still seeing money flow come out, something like the weekly. Like this was kind of a perfect setup where we got the retracement, a little bit of a retracement here as money flow was crossing over into the red on the weekly. This is a big point where I'm thinking, let me not cut some of my losses at this point. If we see something like this happen, I get an opportunity to get out more of my, take out more of my Bitcoin profit on a retracement like this. I'm still massively in profit. So this is, if we see something like that, if this is what you're asking, I would be looking to scale out of my positions on a retracement potentially. And same thing with altcoins as well. Again, there are certain altcoins where I'm just like, they're going to be so down that I'm not willing to take that loss. And if I believe in the project, I'll just hold them, right? At the end of the day, I don't invest money that I'm not willing to either lose or, when I invest in a meme coin, I'm willing to lose that money. If I put $1,000 into a meme coin or whatever it is, right? If that meme coin goes to zero, I'm fine with that, right? I'm only investing in meme coins, money that I'm willing to completely lose. But when it comes to altcoins, right? For the most part, right? Like I only really invest in altcoins that I believe in long term. And if they're down so much that I'm not willing to take an 80% loss, like at this point, right? if you're holding Bitcoin and you're already down here for a 74% loss, in my opinion, if I were to be holding Bitcoin at that point, there is no reason to sell the bottom here, right? And you might be thinking, well, like, what the heck? Don't you want to like just like sell the tops, right? At the end of the day, right? Like the market could hit you with uncertainty, right? Or just like unpredictable moves. And if we came down here and you're like, for example, I'm sure you're probably looking for like when you should sell your alt bags, like when is it all over? At the end of the day, if Bitcoin came down here and I was still holding my Bitcoin for some reason, like I'm not going to sell at a 74% loss unless I thought Bitcoin was going to zero, right? But I would be looking for significant retracements, taking money off the table here on retracements, and then hopefully it winds up being right. I would have to be very, very high conviction here that this is a lower high before coming down. So yeah, I would just wait for retracements to potentially scale to some of my bags in profit or at a small loss, not waiting for me to be from 80% down on an alt to 75% down on an alt. If my Ethereum was for some reason down 75%, I'm just going to hold that into the next cycle, right? And again, the big thing is we just flip to taking much more short positions than we do long positions, right? Like I said, if this is the bear market, right, there's no better time to learn how to trade than right now. And there's no better place to learn how to trade than right here for free. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Tommy Martin, 70K or 100K first. That's a gamble. So yeah, just 50-50 shot. You could just pick one. That's a question everybody wants to know. 20K or 50K? 50K or 100K? I mean, at the end of the day, just to call up or down like that, it's just a 50-50 gamble. Because at the end of the day, right, if you, for example, right, if we're looking at this, right, 50K or 100K, it's like, it depends, right? Like if we come up here and then we retrace on money flow coming out and we're hitting a macro Fibonacci level and it looks like we're going to get a big drop down, right? In that case, on that retracement, you could be like, I think we're going down to 50K or something like that. But just to call up or down, this price or this price, it's just a gamble because you got to play it level to level, right? Because we could dump down to, say, 70K, right? Or what was the question? 70K or 100K, right? We could dump down to 74.9, right? And it could look really bad here, but if we come to 74.9 and things start to turn around and it looks bullish, I will no longer expect 70K, right? That's not how the market works. It's not how trading works. So yeah, you have to assess new information as it comes in. I say this all the time. A lot of people just want up or down, but that's not how trading works, right? It's not how the markets move. And people will be like, not even just me. Honestly, people don't say this to me very often, but I see traders get attacked. I see analysts get attacked a lot. Like, you just flip bearish and bullish whenever it goes, whatever's on the chart. And it's like 100% that is what I do. That's how I make money, right? If I didn't flip bearish and bullish very often, then, we would just wind up holding bad trades when we shouldn't be holding them. So 70K or 100K first, flip a coin. That one might get hit first. But yeah, hopefully that explains why answering that question is such a gamble, right? Because it's, again, I could say, hey, I think 70K is more likely first, but then we come down to 74K. Things look really good. We get a bounce. As we're bouncing, things start to shape up. All of a sudden, it becomes much less likely to see 70K. So hopefully that makes sense. Shout out to Cataline, or Catalin. Shout out to you. It says ETH, Bitcoin. Shout out to you. We took a look at ETH earlier in the stream. If you just scrub back, we did full analysis, all key levels, everything like that. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Cyrus, says, aha, humu. I don't know what the heck that says. Half the stream. I don't even know what that means. Shout out to Cyrus. Let's see. But yeah, let's see. With the liquidation price at 15.41, that's below plenty of support. Correct. I can't handle cutting out the trade right now. Shout out to Rick. Yeah, Rick, I would take this as a learning opportunity of cutting your trades when they're invalidated, and not letting yourself get too far underwater. Right. And I know it sounds very obvious, but this just, next time, I don't know how much you have in the trade or anything like that, but let's assume, you're down $100 down here, right? If you're, that $100, that $100 loss can easily turn into a $1,000 loss very quickly, right? So like when you think your trade is unvalidated and you start losing a key level or whatever your invalidation for the trade is, cut that loss when it is there. Because I know it's very hard to not just like hold on to the trade and pray, but that is not an actual strategy, and you will very likely find yourself in a situation like you're in right now, where it's just like, I don't want to take this loss now, but if I hold it, it could be even worse. It's a terrible situation to be in. I've been in it a million times. So I would take this as a learning lesson. So yeah, shout out to you, bro. Hopefully you're not feeling too much pain. But let's see, bada boom, bada bing. Quick explanation on what the golden pocket is. The golden pocket is simply, let's pull this on your Fibonacci retracement. Golden pocket are these two key Fibonacci levels. When I'm looking for a higher low or a lower high on price, you could go watch. We have videos in the beginner series on how to use the Fibonacci retracement. But basically, the golden pocket is right here. It is derived of the 618 and the 65. Right? They are two Fibonacci levels. So those are the levels you want to get on your fib. Right? And then the 786 is its own level. Right? I mean, they're all their own levels. But the 618 and the 65 make up the golden pocket, which is known to potentially be the strongest level within the fib, but I like to look between the golden pocket and the 786. So if I don't get the higher low on a long into the golden pocket, I will look for it to come in on the 786. So I typically do look at that as a zone. So there you go. That's the quick explanation of what the golden pocket is. So there you go. And you can check check the tutorials in the beginner series to get a better explanation of that. So there we go. I know you're a pizza snob, but have you tried Blue Moon Pizza yet? Shout out to ADD Dad. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you. No, I have not checked out Blue Moon Pizza. I don't even know if we have one near me. But if they do, should I try it? Is it good? ADD Dad, I assume it's somewhere near where we're at. So let me know. If it's good, I'll go check it out. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, with all that being said, guys, I think that's all the time we got for today's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging around with us here till the end of the stream, and we'll see what happens here, guys. Again, we'll see if that long gets stopped out. Again, I would see a pretty high probability of that happening. I don't have very much conviction in this little scalp long. I've already got my stop loss set. If it stops out for a small loss, we'll wait for our bigger key level to get hit. If you're wondering what key levels I'm talking about, scrub to the beginning of the stream. I am running late, so I actually have to hop out of here, guys, so no fake out today. But yeah, scrub to the beginning of the stream if you just tuned in, get all the sauce, and we'll see. We looked for these lower levels, guys, and we're at them. And again, you have the next key levels to the downside if the move down continues. Make sure you understand we have that liquidity sitting down below. And yeah, with all that being said, shout out to everybody in here. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Smash that like button on your way out, and I will see you guys here tomorrow, same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll,
and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the